Terror Spaces. Hello and welcome to The Ether. Today is Friday, January 27th, 2023. Today on The Ether, RAC FM 69.420, hosted by RAC FM Corporate. Let's take a listen.
We've got your man Bendy in here. It's
I'm
a
going to get
non-recorded
Winston on, you know.
spaces.
Imagine Winston coming on RAC FM. I'll put him on the video.
Winston on there. I'll bring my big boy up there, and we can compare sizes of our dogs.
Dude, I'll put him on the video with Dickie. You know Dickie. I'll put him on the video with Dickie, and Dickie like pushed his chair back away from his desk. Like he was like, "Whoa, what's that?"
I can't wait till I'm going to meet Winston. This calendar year, I'm meeting Winston. I'm going to walk up to him. I'm going to give him the big fucking kiss on the nozzle.
Bro, his head's twice the size of me, like twice the size of my skull.
He'll love it. He'll just give me big kisses and cuddles. He'll be wagging his tail. He'll be happy as.
So, wait a minute.
Can we?
Guys, I don't know about you lot. I want to hear from a few people, especially.
I want to hear from Bendy straight up.
But can we get a quick update on tonight? We've heard some crack. Shroot been slagging me off. Wait, Ghostface tonight. Ghostface, the show.
Yeah.
Was it okay? Did you like RAC FM?
I'm going to tell you guys this. So I actually traveled to California, so I have a little bit of jet lag, and I've been up since 4 a.m. I tuned in, and tonight, it was special, and it was special with the order that you had it in. I was really impressed with Kajira and Dead. Like, you know, he endured like Jacob months ago, just railing him, and he remained calm. Even don't
we all love a good Jacob railing, to be honest?
Right. But you guys were spot on, and Rama I shouldn't say I always, but I come back to you sometimes in DMs, and the methodical way you go about asking questions, it reminds me of me. So
don't fanboy too.
Yeah,
don't fanboy too.
No,
it's late for me.
Just sitting outside.
It was great.
Fanboy.
It was great, even with Brian. You know, making them think, and I DM'd Gainsey, and I was like, this guy's about to run out of the chat because he was a little lost, you know, and at one point
we've got him up on the stage right now.
Yeah, and you could tell somebody's character, you know, when they're up against the fire, and it kind of rubbed me away when he said, you know, well, if you guys don't want to accept us, we'll like leave. And in my heart, I'm like, that's when you fight, mate. You don't run away. That's when you fight if it's worth it, you know, unless you're truly being abused, you might go to jail. So
let Rama kind of like, we will try to help him as well. I mean, Rama, let's show some respect. We have both kind of interested parties in the room. I would like everyone to shut the fuck up, and you and Brian and Bendy just have a little chat, and if you can just hang around in the middle and see what goes on. Is that okay?
Sorry, Robbo. As a co-host of RAC FM, I'd just like to say
I'll help.
I couldn't give a fuck what you think and what you'd like. Hey, motherfuckers. How you doing? You want to take cash from the community pool? Come and tell us why you think you deserve it. One at a time. Gonna start with Bendy.
Didn't fuck
why
around
do you think
there.
You deserve the cash, motherfucker.
3M, by the way.
Well, I guess, you know, I'm incredibly good looking. So surely that should be enough, right?
You're in. You're done. Brian, you've been absolutely rugged. Bendy wins.
Wait, Bendy's dry as sticks, isn't he? Bendy is dry as sticks. I've heard him several times. He's dry as sticks. I'm pretty sure it's like just on lunchtime in the UK, and for Brian, it's probably like fucking way early in the morning. I'm not exactly sure where you are, Brian. Get on with it, Rama. Get on with
Go
it.
on.
Make your point.
No,
Get on.
why the fuck do you think you can just siphon funds from the community pool? You
Come on then,
motherfuckers?
Bendy. Bendy, you're up.
Oh, you want a real answer? Okay, so the whole reason that
Keep it short and sweet. We're not here.
yeah.
Right?
So we want like basically, Atom is doing bugger all. We need some development. We need to fund builders. Going through, from my point of view, going through community proposal for the sheer number of grants that we should be issuing and the number of builders we should have is just hellish. That isn't to say community shouldn't have really good oversight of everything that's going on, but there is no structure to how to put a proposal together. 2 weeks is just impossible. I cannot imagine why any team outside of the core teams building on Atom at the moment would go through that process that we have. And that's going to hold us back if we don't create a grants program or multiple grants programs. So that's why there should be a grants program. And until we put anything together, no one was talking about one. So for me, it's a win that there's a conversation.
It's pretty bombastic. Can you do any worse, Brian?
Yeah, I would say the first thing is, about courage and running away. We went for the osmosis grants proposal from Reverie from a couple people on the core team and a couple people in the community were like, can you please put up a competing proposal? And the guy actually thanked me and they said, we got to the Aaron and a couple other people at the Osmosis Foundation. They said, please don't put it on chain. Like we're working with Reverie closely on a couple of really key things and them going away right now would not do well for the Osmosis chain. So can you guys please go away? And we didn't put our proposal up on chain. We were asked to not put it on chain by the core team. And then they did thank us because our competition of putting their proposal up brought them down they were going to double their amount and it brought them down like $50K a month, right? And they thanked us for that. It's like talk to us on your next events or hackathons that you guys are running. We'd love to engage on a marketing aspect, right? Because Reverie doesn't really have a lot of outbound marketing. I think, I was excited to join the Twitter space on Monday. And, what I really, really got concerned about or fired up about was the competition of like, dude, if you launch a grants program and you don't have a roadmap and a vision, it's just gonna not be as effective as having a vision and a roadmap up front. I think we laid out a pretty clear vision. There's good things in Atom 2.0. With everything that Bendy's saying about hey, we have to put this money to work. There's a tax here, or Atom's not going to be doing anything. And I completely agree. I think a lot of the concerns around Atom 2.0 were really around the risks of risking the entire market cap. In our proposal, it's we want to put a lot of the money towards marketing, developer acquisition, hackathons to find the best developers. I think the background of the team that you guys have, Bendy and his team, it's rad, right? Like you guys have like a killer background. We'd like to figure out a way to work together. You have different pools of like the Cosmos community. Yusef told me, hey, no, we don't want to coordinate right now. We want to basically, we're going to go on chain. And so that's why we put up a competing proposal, because clear vision, exactly what we will do, exactly kind of like what we're said we're going to do. And we want to bring, to have the Atom be able to buy tacos with Atom. So anybody in the Cosmos community that have a Cosmos Hub debit card can go and pay with Atom and anywhere in the world. And that's kind of like one of the things that we want to really put out there.
Oh, sorry. I think my AirPods ran out. Robbo, can you just grab host for 10 seconds while I grab my headphones?
Yes, mate. My headset did one as well. I do have to say, I think, and I do want to highlight this for everybody. I think this is the first real publicised, proper, signal and proper. We'll see what goes on chain. I don't think we've ever been here before, have we? Is this historical, Rama, or Little Gains? You should know, and Finn. Exactly the same time on IBC, exactly the same kind of situation. Like this kind of weird, isn't it? It's not uncomfortable, actually, for me. I feel fine with it. And I think both parties are like very respectful of each other. It's going to be a very interesting outcome. No? I have no idea where this is going to go. We'll have to see when it goes on chain, right?
I think they should know. I mean, right, Benny? You should know.
I mean, it's going to go however the big validators want it to go.
Well, I asked Brian. Brian if he had any big validators.
It's going to go.
I asked Brian if he had any big validators.
You wait.
Oh, sorry. I'm just saying that.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. Yusef has big validators behind him, doesn't he?
Yeah. It's going to go how all nodes wants it to go. There, I said it. You made me say it. There, I said it.
Oh, PTSD V2 or V3 maybe. I don't know. But like,
is somebody working on an application so that we can sort out who's who, so that we actually know where to shovel all this FUD? Because that would be super dope if somebody had just some like CLI shit that you could type in that was like, dude, here's a list. Here's everyone using all nodes. I bet it's not that simple. I bet it's Don Kryptonium. I bet it's all of the influencer. I know you can
hear me because I've got my headphones
validators.
It's not that simple, right?
I know it's all
what they can do is they can identify all of the nodes that are using the same data center, but then what they do is they check peer-to-peer, which is how all DPoS networks operate. But it depends if you're running behind the same sentry or not. And when it gets to that point, you can't really tell. So they can be like, hey, everyone's using Hetzner in these two data centers, but that's as far as they can go. They don't know if it's like the same operator or not, which most are. So like when everyone's like, oh, proof of stake's so decentralized, it's like, no, they're not. There's like 90%.
I don't think anybody has ever said that.
Two data centers, nobody, and there's like a couple of people who are running them out of their houses in America, and that's it.
Off of their iguanas, just the roaming network. Hold on, guys, I can't send that transaction. I gotta like run 10 clicks south to catch my fucking network.
Even Kudos said like they're just in data centers right now. Kudos, like we're like, Ollie was like, yeah, we're just in data centers. Like obviously we're trying to like, but it was like, yeah, we're just in a couple of data centers. Yeah, Rama's bang on point. Wow, Lippit's in the room, Rama.
That's all right though. There's something I think that was really important. I mean, the whole thing was really important, but what Jacob said about having this information before the attack or before anything happens, because like all of the leaks and the database cracks and everything you see, like that shit happened like 6 months ago, 8 months ago. Like they don't release that info right when it happens. This is probably, and I've been on the internet like since Prodigy and shit, but like this is probably the first time that I can remember that we have this like glimpse into some shit that could possibly have like some pretty big ramifications if left unchecked down the road. And this is like a chance to fix it before it gets too big to be fixable and bad shit actually cascades. Like I think people should see the importance in that. That's all.
But all nodes is an organization. I mean, it's not just like one guy. I know that's been the tagline with Jacob. It's like, oh, it's like one guy.
Aerodyne Inc. It's Aerodyne Inc. It's two bros at their mom's shed. No, I don't know. It's probably a big company, but that doesn't matter.
Oh, dude, they must have like quite a lot of infra. But it is quite interesting. I just care about like, is it affecting the chains that I give a fuck about? That's the question.
Hey,
talking about
guys,
chain.
I gotta bounce here, but I want to ask Bendy a question before I go. Have you reviewed our proposal, and do you have any critical feedback of kind of what we put forward?
I took a quick read over it. I haven't read it in depth. I've not particularly had time. I also, and this will be my stance throughout the whole time when you guys go on chain, as long as we're both on chain at the same time, I'm not going to talk about your proposal. And the reason for that is I think the community should make their own mind up. I'm super in favor of plurality. So I've got no interest in this becoming a pissing contest about whose thing is better. I think that it's really useful to have two different routes, to have two different sort of structures that people can go with. The community should make up their own minds as to whether they want one, the other, neither, both, and then we can figure it out from there. But until that point, I'm not you guys will have done what we've done, which is you put up the best proposal you can, you listen to feedback, you amend it, you go from there, you put it on chain, and that's fantastic. And I commend you for getting involved. It's great.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Would love to work together and figure the way to work together and work it out. Your guys' team has reaches into every single aspect of the Cosmos ecosystem, and highly respect what you guys have done in the past individually.
Thank you. That's really kind of you to say. Yeah, one of the things for me is just a person with a marketing background and a member of the community I was like, oh my god, this team is absolutely stacked. So it's really it is awesome to be part of it, and they are some great people.
And this is how conversation should happen, guys. We appreciate it.
Yeah, Robbo, that's really
it.
lovely, and I'm sure you'd love to have this happen on RAC FM, but on RUG FM, I'd just like to say, stop being absolute fucking plebs, and I want you guys to go to fucking war, and all I want to see is blood and gore and death, and may the best grants program win and be successful for the betterment of the hub.
Rama, I was gonna offer a dance off, but I hadn't quite geared up for war.
No, I literally want you to fucking jump on horses' backs with your armor and a
why don't they do
charge towards each other? May the best man win. I don't fucking care,
Why don't they do a Game of Thrones? If they could come together, right, and put a joint prop up for Game of Thrones and do that shit, that jousting shit, what you're talking about.
Now we're fucking talking. Now you're on my
now
level,
we're talking, guys. Hey,
So,
Game of Thrones.
Put your best
Game of
knight
Plebs.
forward. Put your best warrior forward. May the
You-
best
you
man
Game
win.
of
just-
Plebs.
Survivor
front run
of
us.
the teams
Put
gets
that
the
up.
grants program.
We just did.
Front run us
We
and put it on.
we just did.
Put it on chain. We'll do that.
We put it on chain.
Imagine
Game
the
of
smell.
Plebs.
Oh my god, imagine the smell. Unbelievable. I'm so happy to be alive right now, and I'm so happy this site is free. Shroot, you're a big mouth motherfucker, and Amir, I know you were up earlier, but let's find out you two, because Shroot's gonna fucking cause fucking chaos, no doubt. Shroot? No, you're busy trading with the Mormons? Okay, no problem. Amir, how you doing up in the Pyrenees? How you doing, bro?
Good. It's busy. It's real busy. But hey, Bendy, you're getting on the RAC FM a lot, like we said yesterday. That's very nice of you.
Yeah, no, happy to join. Just kind of adjusting to the tempo of RUG FM.
You're doing marketing and communications now. That's great.
Rug FM. Did you not get that? I'm just getting just into the tempo of Rug. Hey, Bendy, we have no control over Rama when it's 3-8. Rama, is your missus going to the park tomorrow for avocado toast and Pilates or what? Because you have to look after your kid on a Saturday morning. I know this. When your missus does the weekly shit with her friends. So what's happening, Rama? Please, we care about you, dude. Don't go all in, Rama. Don't.
Bros, I'm literally fucking sitting out on the deck. My leg is elevated up on a pillow. I'm mad relaxed, right?
Is the dog there? Is the dog beside you? Is the dog beside you?
I tell you fucking what, all right? The dog's inside.
Where's the dog like?
Okay,
What?
you want to know what you want to know where the dog is? Okay, I can walk inside, right? So I'm sitting
He's
out
a
on the
pleb.
deck. No, the dog's not a fucking pleb. The dog knows what's up.
You should be outside. Hey, my dogs will not be in the house when I'm outside. Like they're going mad for it.
No, you don't understand, Robbo. Okay, so here's the fucking sitch. Okay, I'm outside. It's 38 degrees, sweating my fucking cunt out. I'm looking at the door from the deck that goes inside. The door inside my house is fucking frosted up. It's fucking cold inside that house, okay? I walk in there. Everything is fucking icy cold. It's like 17 degrees, right? I walk in. I go to the fridge. I look for some snacks. There's no snacks. I go to the master bedroom. The dog and the wife are sleeping on the fucking oversized king bed laid out. They're all laid. They're comfy as. They're just sitting there, just fucking sprawled out. I'm like, cool, no worries. I go in, check on her. She's sleeping.
Bro, you're
comfy
down
as
horrendous.
fuck. She's comfy as fuck, right? I go
No,
into
but
the
you're down
spare
horrendous.
bedroom. I go into the spare bedroom. Normally, there's a spare double bed in there where I would sleep. Empty because there's a new kid coming, right? The cot's not even set up. I can't even sleep in there. I go out. I look at the lounge. I'm like, that's not big enough for me. So here I am, being a fucking pleb, talking to you fuckwits on a spaces, drinking beer in 38 degrees, sweating my cunt out on the back deck. That's my life right now.
Who uses the fucking phrase master bedroom? Did I just get transported back to the 1940 fucking 3 or something like that?
No, listen.
You want to fucking hang on.
Wait. Sorry, guys. Sorry, I'm busy. I'm off to the pantry. I'm going to the pantry. I'll be back in a moment.
Listen to this,
you
pleb.
want a fucking guided tour of my
Listen,
mansion? Because I'll fucking give
when
you
you're
that,
not,
all right?
when you don't live in a trailer, listen.
Fucking cribs.
I know what do you call them there? Trailers, caravans. I know your caravan probably doesn't have a master bedroom, but when you upgrade and you actually have a house, homes, when you turn your house into a home, when you fill it with enough love and shit, that's when you have a master bedroom.
Bro, me bedroom.
You know where I'm at right now? I turned my master bedroom into a studio because I spend so much time on these fucking spaces with you plebs sweating my cunt out.
You don't say master bedroom in king size bed. You just say you just say like bedroom and bed. That's how it works, isn't it? Why do people have to add these words? Like American.
That's how he is. He's very descriptive. He's a very descriptive gentleman.
Wait, what about Americans or like waste paper basket? What? Am I not allowed to put fucking anything else in there, you fucking plebs? What's going on there?
We call it a trash can. Come on. Come on.
No, in your office or something. Office, the waste paper basket. You also call it horseback riding. Like literally, where else are you going to be fucking riding on a fucking horse other than its back? Come on. Like seriously, pleb? What's your game there?
All right, that one you got us there. I never thought about horseback riding, but I've never said it. When I used to go, we just go like bareback. Hop on that bareback. Let's go. You know why? Because there's no saddle on it. Bareback, dog. Come on.
I want to see you riding through the forest of Oregon on a horse's head turned the other way around, like, and just like, hey, go, Rumble, I brought the rules, like. Dude, I don't know. To me, as a purist, American English is always a bit fucked up, but I'll not go there. I want to shut up. It's been great, though, to have these voices, Finn, hasn't it? People like Bendy and Brian, like open, regular, want to pop on, say hello, blah, blah. I think it's been class.
Yeah, it's nice. It's what happens when you have communities interacting and working within communities to form communities. It's basically the whole communitarian manifest.
Communities, community. I love it all. It's fucking amazing. Yep.
What's that, like the Russian doll? Is that like the Russian doll you're talking about there, or what? You know, them Russian dolls
it's like the babushka doll, but it's the community doll. Yeah.
Oi, babushka. Is that Hungarian or something? Your man knows. Is that Hungarian?
The babushka doll.
Mm-hmm. Russian.
Sorry.
Is it Russian or Hungarian?
I'm pretty sure it's Russian.
It means grandma.
Does it? That doll thing means grandma.
Matryoshka. Matryoshka.
Yeah,
babushka.
Everyone spawns from the grandma, right? It's like down through the ages. Yeah, that's literally what it means. Everyone comes from the grandma.
That's why my great grandmother was called Bubba. That was her name because it's short for babushka.
Wow. My grandma, I just set out those Russian dolls, right, where you like open one up, and then inside there was like like 4 shot glasses like lined up. Like literally when you got down, just four shot glasses stacked inside, and she's like, "Here we go." Oh my god!
And the night has begun.
Oh, that woman! Jesus Christ Almighty!
It sounds like Jesse's house, man. I haven't even met the man in person yet, but I already know it's Jesse down in the chat. One of my bros. He's you fucking go and talk to him. go to his house. This is like, you walk in there, it's like, welcome. Here is 15 fireball shots. Enjoy the night. And by the way, see that white line in front of the shots? You got to do that too.
Well, some people entertain, some people do what they want to do. I don't know. I don't know how this shit works. I haven't got friends like that.
Oh,
Or
yeah,
Shrew
no,
eventually. Wait,
you definitely not had
wait,
friends like that ever,
wait.
have you, Robbo?
Can we introduce Shrew as like Brian's like biggest fanboy?
Oh,
like
Shrewd's Brian's.
on the wait a minute on the Steffi's face. Yeah, thank you, Gaines.
I'm back.
Gaines can do that for his employees. Gaines can do that for his employees. Literally. Wait a minute though. After the Steffi space, you were in that group chat.
And very quickly, Robbo, if we're going to introduce Shroot as Brian's biggest fanboy, I feel like it would be very, very rude of us.
Don't you do that. I'll mute you.
To completely ignore Robbo as Bendy's biggest fanboy. I feel like that would just be completely rude.
I'll mute you.
So, Shroot, Brian's biggest fanboy, and Robbo, Bendy's biggest fanboy. Please take the call. Lil Genji and I, excuse me, co-host. Lil Squid and I will be the hosts for your evening. Shroot, Brian, and Robbo and Bendy, please plead your cases, and Lil Squid and I will be your hosts for the evening. Thank you.
I've actually started I'm actually starting a betting platform on which prop will pass. You'll see the odds up live on Cosmospace's website, and I'll be the one taking the rake.
Yeah, so Cosmospace has turned into an all gaming gambling platform. So yeah,
in the metaverse.
This will
can I become a member? How do I become a member?
You're a member already.
I want to know.
You're a member already.
You have to buy your ice cream NFT.
I'm in.
No, you have to buy your ice cream NFT, doesn't he? That's what he has to buy. Ice cream NFT. Yeah. Is that right? For entry into your game. Is that right, Fred?
5. We got to buy 5.
Dude, you should hear the stories I've heard about fucking Cosmos Spaces. Apparently, you work on Mahos again. Can't believe that.
Never in my
couldn't believe that went wrong.
Let's not divert from the main topic of discussion today, which is Shroot X Brian, Robbo X Bendy.
No,
Grant Wars.
I said he's from England. Therefore, he's oppressed, whether he knows it or not.
Oh, you're simping him
socially and economically and politically. He's oppressed.
Literally sent us here to this forbidden land.
To me,
just wants to murder us all the time.
Bendy is fucking Nelson Mandela.
No,
he's Nelson Mandela.
You sent us to this land that wants to kill us constantly, and you're saying that this poor Bendy cunt who lives in the fucking forever land is oppressed.
Bro, have you seen how close your eyes are together? No wonder they fucking sent you down there. Have you seen how close your eyes are together, dude? That's not right. You look like you should be in that Maze Runner fucking movie. In the movie, the Maze Runner, you look like you should be in there.
Let's not talk about each other's appearance, Robbo.
Sorry.
You know we're going live on Twitch and YouTube very soon, okay?
I'm a pirate.
I don't want to make you smile.
The dead one. Dude, I'm a dead pirate. You've seen it before. Pirates of the Caribbean. You know, the fella on the ship underneath the ocean. That's what you're going to get. Shroot, what have you come up to fucking talk about you? Are you going to shill Squid V3 or something? Or what the fuck's going on?
No, dude. That's not in my nature. So
hey, congratulations, so Crew 3, like Squid's Crew 3, your little task, eh? I love to see this. I love to see this incubation of this idea, this project. Dude, you're killing it in my eyes. That's all I want to see. Okay.
Yeah, I think the Crew 3 platform is like the perfect blend of like engaged. Like, dude, I fucking hate Discord. It's like the worst shit ever. There's too many of them. And until they figure out some way that where I can pin channels and only look at the interesting ones, I'm like almost done using it. But like, yeah, Crew 3 is like a thing where we just kind of keep people kind of engaged, but not like have to like always be fucking in a Discord to read like 5 messages or whatever the case may be. So I don't know. It's an interesting platform. I'll enjoy it a lot more when they. So I actually was in touch with some people because they're adding like a bunch of features, and they like were asking like what kind of things they would be interested in seeing. And like one of the biggest things I think would be fun is like tracking, on-chain activity. I think once they tie that kind of shit in, then I think it'll just, I mean, people would use it all the time. Because like right now, if you want to track something on chain, you like have to have people like submit a transaction hash, and then like someone's got to go review it. But if you can like set predefined parameters, like, hey, look and see if this person delegated, 100 Juno to this particular validator, and then give them, whatever their points are. But anyways, yeah, it's a cool platform. I appreciate it.
Link up with the Colonial Cat team, CryptoPital,
What's that?
True. Go on, Amir.
The Colonial Cat team, they have been doing it since like a long time, since the first Colonial Cat came. No, not the first one, but a little bit after the first Colonial Cat came up.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I think I have a Colonial Cat, and then I have some of the I don't know, what did they
Voyager.
launch on Tori? What they launch on Tori?
The Yield Gorillas.
Yield Gorillas, yeah. Does that shit just show up passively in my wallet, or do I have to like go claim it somewhere? How's that shit work?
It's the mistake. No, normally you did it already, but that's the mistake. The mistake token. The mistake NFTs.
Why is that? Do I need to dump them?
Well, because they launched it on Tori, and well, Brasco would be better suited to talk about this.
All right, yeah, I'll chat with him. I don't know. I just bought them because it was a thing on Tori, and I was trying to, support the homies. So, what were you saying, Robo?
Dude, I've spent the last 20 seconds, because I was busy doing something on the computer as well. I spent the last 20 seconds, what was I going to ask Fruit? Fruit is really important. Just give us a minute and it'll come. But I mean, I do appreciate though your thoughts on tonight. Again, just a quick update on anything you've heard. Is there anything that's give you hope? Is there anything that dismayed you? Any update on this evening's proceedings?
I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm a Kuji fanboy too. Us ex-Terra people have to stick together. Yeah, I don't know. I think once they finish up a couple of their next few products, I think it's crazy undervalued, at least for what their whole ecosystem is capable of doing.
Terry, you reminded me, dude. Sorry, I do apologize, but Terry, you reminded me. Dude, you were a co-host on the NFT Roundtable with Yowza. And listen, the NFT switch crack, we did talk about it today, and I really wanted you there as a co-host, because that's a kind of professional capacity thing, yeah? Dude, how disrespectful did you... I know I'm here 1 second, Amir. Dude, how disrespectful did you think their comments were afterwards, the totals that? I thought I would never dream of going in requesting and then not ending up going up, even though we opened it up at the end for the questions, agreed the format. Dude, I would never do that. I would never go to that level, Shroot. I thought it was disrespect for what we're doing.
Yeah, he's definitely a I don't know if you've ever heard him in some of the Terra spaces. He's definitely got a lot of energy, I guess we'll say. But yeah, I mean, he was spam requesting the entire time, and then at the end, I finally invited him up, and then he left, and then started his little crybaby tweet storm. But then I think the funny part is that they want to offer this peer-to-peer trading service for NFTs because they don't want you to get scammed, yet their code is at the moment closed source. So the irony is
So true. Were you listening tonight when I brought it up? So what I did is we'd already spoken, and I wanted to bring exactly that point up. And I was like, okay, dead right, Dove, can you take your headphones out and put your hands over your ears and mull? a raccoon. I was like, dude, can you please put your hands over your ears so you can't hear what I'm about to say? And then I said it, and then Rama came straight. Rama's like, oh, Robbo, you didn't, did you? You didn't go there on your man. Like, Rama fucking tried to throw me under the bus. Gaines, did you catch that one? But Rama tried to throw me under the bus, man. In its ingest. Anyway, I don't know if you caught that one, but dude, I had to get that in. That was hilarious. Get on a Mia. You've had your hand up for ages, dude.
Mr. Schrute, I've been hearing something in the back alleys about the Luna might be front-running interchain security to the alliance. Can you either confirm or deny this?
I mean, I don't have too much more information than what I've read publicly, but all I know is that, you know, Terra ships shit. So, and, you know, especially with these two gentlemen up here, the hub really doesn't ship shit. So I'm not holding my breath for interchain security. I have more faith that we'll get mesh security from fucking Osmosis and Juno folks before any of that shit happens. So I wouldn't be surprised if Do Kwon fucking, you know, pulls another feather out of his hat and comes up with something. I mean, their wallet's pretty dope. Look at that. It took Terra Station changing their wallet to be interchain for Kepler to be like, oh, we'll provide support for Terra and Luna Classic now. Took them like fucking a week to get that shit on there. It's just comical at this point. Competition is great. That's what we're talking about. Competition. Look at that. Fucking dude, when Kepler tweeted that shit out this morning, I like almost fell out of my chair.
I've heard Luna couldn't run a bath. And I've also heard that fucking Bruce is on suicide watch right now. I don't know how much is true. I'm just saying the rumours that are, you know, floating across the airwaves. And, oh, we've got Slinks up. Let's see if we can get Avi in for a bit of fucking spice as well. Hello, Slinky, me darling.
Morning. On that Kepler note, there's a cool little tidbit of information. I know two Cosmos chains that are launching, and they're trying to get Kepler to list them. They want $360K a year to list them on the Kepler wallet.
Yeah, they took that from Juno. Yeah, they took Juno from. Oh yeah, I've got tweets going back to a year ago, complaining about this. Yeah, 350 grand for Juno to get on Kepler Mobile. People don't realise that. Well, Kepler's just an extension of the Osmosis Mafia. Now, guys, we were the first show who started talking about the Osmosis Mafia, right? If anyone wants to know how things work, if anyone wants to know why we're such close friends with people like Dead Right Dove, then if you tuned in tonight, you'll probably fucking understand. There's like a lot of us. There's a fair people that are like fairly new, but there's like some of us who are like, you know, a couple of years old, and there's like I fucking hell, corporate soys come in. Let's reset the room a little bit. We've got RV in. We've got a few people in. I think let's check this a minute, guys, quickly. Rama, you're asleep, are you? So Gaines, if he's asleep, we have to take over. Who reckons Rama's asleep? I do. It's nearly 4. Well, it's 3:30, 3:23 from. So Gaines, are you still there or not? Because we've got a room here, like a fucking proper room. Are you ready? Okay, wait a minute. Right.
I am here, guys, but I am working on my quad, so I'm gonna have to probably drop down as a listener or yeah.
Okay, fine. It's. I just want to say that. I mean, we've got really good people here. We've got Brian and Bendy still. Right, there's a few people jumped in. Shroot here, and me. Corporates jumped in. Right, and Slinks got a good crew. RV, have you been looking at this? Because you're obviously from ClearMedes, the validator, the IBC validator, so you've got a perspective. RV, have you got any input into what we're seeing at the moment with the governance props in regards to funding projects from the community pool? You know what we're talking about, right? You know,
for Juno or other chains.
At the moment, we've got for the hub. It's we were talking about the props that are specifically for a growth fund on the hub. Well, they're on Commonwealth, sorry, right now. But one went up. Then there was a space, and then another one went up. and people are coming out openly, like, you know, debating and discussion. So maybe you haven't caught up on that one, have you? I don't know yet. We've been on a few spaces this week. Started last Sunday with Rena.
Yeah, I mean,
no,
I don't know. I think that people should be able to put stuff on Commonwealth and put it on chain if they want to. I don't think we should be stopping them. But at the same time, like that, I don't think there's a strict definition of what the community pool should be used for. And if there is, then I'm just not informed. I think that for Juno specifically, like there was a growth fund created so that people could reach out to us and ask us for funding. And we've had like Zardao, for example, put up a prop, but then kind of basically said that like they're putting up the prop, but that they want to do it through the growth fund. And I think that was, I mean, like, I don't know, if somebody gets funded through the community pool and doesn't come to us, like obviously, like there's nothing we can do about that. But I think personally, having been sitting in on like some of the meetings with these different projects and seeing like the amount of expertise that we actually have now on that fund because of the people and like they actually have real life experience with mergers and acquisitions and like VC funding. I would say that I feel pretty good about the terms that we're going to get for a lot of these deals. We're going to actually be announcing, I think, the first couple funding proposals pretty soon. And I think that people are going to like look at them and be like, all right, this makes sense from both like the amount of funding, the terms, and then also kind of like how it's going to deliver value to Juno stakers. So maybe this will kind of set some sort of, I don't know, precedent for like other chains, especially once DAO is interchain and you can actually like deploy sub DAOs and manage things in this way.
Well, we talked about that. We talked about that like DAO outposts on Kujira at night. But I'll be very quickly though. As someone who was a listener earlier on tonight, Corporate Soy, I saw you were in and then you dropped off, so I think you missed a bit, right? But you came in at the end, is that right?
Is this the one where you were basically grilling Brian on his prop?
I wasn't. Rama's. Listen, look, am I Rama's boss? No, I'm a fucking not. Am I a brother's keeper? No, I'm not. You right? People do what they do.
Talking about you as a collective.
Joking.
And you know, there's a lot to be said for grilling someone. We give Bendy a bit of grief, give Brian a bit of grief. It's fair on both sides, right?
Exactly. I thought tonight was really productive, which is what we like aim to do at the end of the day. I think that, like I said, I don't think anybody can look and kind of like compare. Like you've got to evaluate both things completely on their own after deciding that, right, there should be, you know, this particular kind of like growth fund or whatever, right? This accelerator, yeah, or incubator. Like you've got to decide on that question, and then you've got to be like, right, okay, there are two differing propositions, right? Okay, let's have a look at this one, right? Evaluate that on its own. You always do this with things, right? You have to evaluate them completely on their own before you then kind of compare and contrast, right? I just want everybody to keep remembering to do that. Don't like just put them together at the same time and compare them. Please evaluate them as single entities. That is incredibly important. But I hope there's a way forward, and I hope we do see some development. I mean, seeing Cosmosm rejected so, like, you know, on the whole, and all this, right, Cosmosm's gone, we don't give a fuck, it's minimalistic. And then we're seeing all this from people like Yusuf, who's got backing from, like, Beyonce's husband at Strangelove. You know what I mean? So, I mean, there's so many questions. I don't know about you guys. There's so many like things that are bugging me in my fucking head right now.
I honestly think that Adam is going to become really irrelevant in the future. I don't think it's going to happen quickly. I think it's going to happen like slowly. And I was trying to tell Jake this last night because I feel like Jake is very forward looking, which is great because he's like, you know, he's got like an innovator's mind. But like the stickiness of Atom right now is simply due to the fact that it's like an on-ramp for so many people into the ecosystem. And that's going to start changing like very quickly. And so once that does change, there's not going to be a whole lot going for it. They've moved incredibly slow. They haven't been able to organize the community to like agree on any of their like ridiculous propositions because they didn't put together a good one to begin with. So yeah, I don't know. I don't really think I think the hub tried to push this whole minimalistic thing, and I don't really think it's working out for them. But I also think that crypto markets, for some weird reason, like aren't forward looking enough. Like, so they just kind of lag, as opposed to like traditional markets where they're incredibly forward looking and pricing all of these changes like well in advance. So I'm curious to see like Luna, I think is going to be pushing this front with all of their like updates, but like I think there's a huge opportunity for other chains as well to like capture some of that value.
I agree.
Okay.
There's nothing compelling on Atom other than I used to use it to transfer my funds from Coinbase to my Kepler wallet. That's the only thing that I used it for. It was a middleman crypto that I could get into the ecosystem with. And I think their lack of development has left them behind. And as a result, like the fact that it's still called the Cosmos Hub, like what can you do there other than onboard people? And I would argue things like Cato and shit like that have just made it so easy that I don't even onboard through Atom anymore. I onboard through USDC onto Osmosis and then, buy whatever I was, thinking of buying. So like,
Atom is my off-ramp. Like Atom is how I first learned to get like from DeFi, etc., blah blah, or even on centralized exchanges. Atom's how I learned to be able to get my money back to Thailand and cash out as cheaply as possible. And for the reason that because remember I was living on this shit at the time, no job, having to trade fucking crypto to make money. And just so happens that my centralized exchange that I used to off-ramp here in Thailand, because it's really strict there, the liquidity on Atom and the volume is really decent. You can literally just come and cash out whatever, 50, 100, 150 Atom, no problem. There's just bots that are running sales and buys of 500 a go. And then there's the non-bot accounts that you see coming in, it's the this is the thing in January 2021 that got me. I didn't even know what the fuck it was, except I looked on the thing. I mean, I think USTD then for a withdrawal or whatever, or to get rid of my account was I don't know, $10 or something. What was Atom fucking couple of cents, not even that. Fractions, it's been the easiest way to get money back to Thailand. Atom for me personally, mate. I've fucking cashed out how much in the last couple of years. Everything gets converted to Atom when I need it, and then comes back to Thailand. Simple as that's it.
Yeah, but I mean, once I'd argue once native USDC is in the Cosmos, you won't even need to do that anymore.
But isn't that going to be
to have native USDC in the Cosmos is going to be interchain secured by Atom.
Yeah.
Come on, let's keep it real.
Unless Mesh front runs you, I mean, sorry, can I ask you a question? Are you working for Noble? Are you working for Noble or not? Please clarify. Are you working for Noble or not? No,
I'm not. I work for Neutron, not Noble.
Well, are Noble connected to Neutron? Will be the next question.
No, Noble is a new chain that's actually set up by Jelena and her business partner, some Swedish guy, I think. So they've basically set up that chain. So it's nothing to do with me, mate. At the end of the day, there's obviously some sort of alignment between Neutron and Noble and Atom. Everyone's sort of got common interests in seeing the hub develop and participating in that development.
Right.
But that's all there is to it.
Tell me about the delay. Do you want to tell me about?
Wait, hold on. This is the first time I'm hearing this. So you're saying another Cosmos Mafia insider is starting a new chain? Is that what you're saying?
Oh my god!
It's not another Mafia. It's the same one.
fuck.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. A member of the Cosmos Mafia is starting their own chain to airdrop their Genesis tokens to all their friends. Oh, okay.
There's no airdrop. All right. Well, you know, I'm all for jokes and stuff. But at the same time, let's be realistic here. So, I mean, basically, this Noble chain is. I don't really know how it's come about. There's some rumors that sort of said it was going to launch on Osmosis, but USDC didn't want to have the sort of COSM risk attack vector, and so they sort of preferred the interchain security model. And as far as I'm aware, that's why it was done. But I mean, I can definitely see sort of like all these like, you know, tongue-in-cheek mafia jibes where they come from, because I mean, if you look at like the Atom 2.0 thing, you've basically got sort of like Sam Hart who's left, Billy who's left, and now like Jelena's left to set up this Noble chain. And you know, I don't think it's like a quantum leap to think that that's like been sort of a bit of a behind the doors, behind the scenes deal, and like Yelena announcing this chain at Cosmoverse and this kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, you know, it's not really something that interests me particularly. But like I said, going back to what Shrew was saying before, you know, it's all well and good being really excited about native USDC, but native USDC isn't going to come and launch on Juno. It's not going to come and launch on Osmosis. So if you want that, you've got the hub, and it's another big value add for the hub. So all this talk about Atom's going to fade into insignificance is just nonsense, to be honest with you.
Can I just to jump in? I think USDC is the single biggest, native USDC is the single biggest use case just immediately from ICS. Like you can see how being like, and the whole point of that chain was, again, Circle didn't want to have a chain, as I understand it, that was their chain. They wanted a chain they could issue tokens on, and the chain in fact can issue lots of different tokens. So that starts to become really interesting because you can actually diversify the stables in the ecosystem, and having a chain that actually is, you know, significantly lower risk, both in terms of economically and technologically, as Atom is, makes a lot of sense for those providers. You know, I think, you know, none of them will want to issue on a chain that has had halts, particularly. You know, that is a risk factor that they're not going to want to get into.
But I was on a space, and Jacob, who I would argue is probably a very, very top tier validator, said I'm paraphrasing, like participating in interchain security is fucking hard. Like,
yeah,
he said, like he got flashed and shit like that, and just like it's just very difficult. So I mean, for Circle to commit to being on interchain security when interchain security hasn't launched, and we don't know like how what kind of a shit show it's going to be, like to start, like is very
so let me clarify that point, because
let me come in on the top. I want to come in on top of Shroot as well to add to you, right? Okay. Did you post a tweet recently about Neutron being delayed because ICS is delayed? Can I just clarify this one point first of all, right? Is that right?
Me?
Yeah, was it? I'm sure it was like you that posted like isn't there a delay because ICS? The reason I'm asking is, wasn't the timeline there a while ago? Like, isn't there a thing about ICS about the votes?
Well, all right, listen. Hold on a minute. First of all, no, I never. You can go. Wait a minute. You can go and check
I'll find something about Neutron being delayed because of ICS being delayed. Wait a minute.
Listen, I'll answer the question. First of all, I didn't post anything. Second of all, there is a delay to ICS because of the Quicksilver bug. That upgrade is happening before ICS happens. It's all fairly ordinary stuff. And it's not necessarily delayed.
You're not factoring in the voting period. Can you tell people about the votes that's going to have to go ahead? Aren't there votes? And isn't there a 15-day voting period? Aren't we looking at March? There's a timeline.
We were always looking at March.
Okay.
So hopefully that satisfies your concerns on that one. And then, and then just to circle back to what we were actually talking about a minute ago with Shroot. So like this whole like security concern he's got about on USDC or Circle's behalf because of ICS and the complexities and what Jacob's been saying about it. First of all, Jacob's absolutely spot on. Like ICS is it has problems, it has complexities, it places additional demands on validators, and potentially, you know, there's possibly some sort of centralizing effects of that because of the sort of greater burden placed on lower validators who don't have the same income as other validators at the top of the set. And these are all very real concerns. And that's why, like, I'll tell you right now, like, all this talk about 1,000 chains and this, that, and the other is for the birds. It's not going to happen anytime soon. And so what you're going to end up with is, like, a handful of chains in the early days on in-chain security, maybe, like, I don't know, 5, maximum 10 in the first year, because of all these sort of logistical issues with it. What I will say is that there will be a version 2 and there will be a version 3, and I don't really know exactly what those look like, but you know, potentially over time, what it'll need to do is there'll need to be some efficiencies in how it all works and this, that, and the other, in order for it to scale. Because as things stand, I don't believe that it does. As regards like what Shroot was saying about potential concerns from Circle about using ICS, it really isn't the case. I mean, in terms of how that's all going to sort of work, you basically get slashed on Atom if there's like downtime on this chain. This chain is not going to be a Cosmos chain. It's basically not even going to have a token. So there's no sort of, I mean, it's not beyond the realms of possibility that there's some sort of downtime on the chain. But I don't really have any major concerns about security for Noble Chain being interchain secured.
I guess one thing, because I get Soy's point about like, all right, look, there's a business relationship, like things are being developed, even if they're moving slowly, it doesn't really matter. It's going to launch, it's going to accrue value. There's going to be, you know, utility there, and that's fine. I think like for me, when I look at a big entity like Circle, my first thought is they're going to do what's best for them, right? Like they don't care about the hub or Atom or any of this shit. They care about getting USDC to as many people as possible. And they care about native USDC because it reduces people's like exposure to risk. And so at the end of the day, like if there is a better opportunity for them elsewhere, they will take it. I don't think that USDC launching on the as a consumer chain on the USDC having an issuance chain on the hub is going to be like the end all be all, and it's going to fucking like save Atom and drive so much value to it and make it like this incredible thing. Like maybe if the other things are issued there, that could happen. But again, like these are all theoretical things that people talk about. I think people talk about theoretical shit in crypto all the time. Like, and I've been trying to kind of, when I've been looking at like new tokens and trying to decide what to invest in, I'm like, all right, how much of like these tokenomics are real and how much of this is like promise of future revenue share, promise of future utility? Like everybody talks about Uniswap and they're like, oh my God, so much revenue. One day when they start sharing revenue with uni holders, like it's going to be an amazing investment. And I'm like, they've literally said multiple times that it's going to remain a government's token. Like nobody is changing that model, especially with no regulatory clarity. So my whole point being, like, I don't like to deal in like uncertainties or promises of future value. Like I like to kind of stick to the facts. And the facts of the matter are that the hub's been in a bit of disarray. They're still going to launch all of these new things. It's going to take a little bit of time. It's probably going to be great to have native USDC there, but it's not going to be some sort of like silver bullet for Atom value accrual.
So where's these silver bullets for all these other Cosmos chains then that's going to make them supplant Cosmos?
I'm not saying there's a silver bullet for every Cosmos chain. My whole point was that I don't think Atom is going to be able to hold on to its dominance, because right now, when you look at Atom's market cap compared to like everything else in the Cosmos, like why is it the way it is?
Well, why is it that you think that? Why is it that you think in the context of the Cosmos ecosystem? Where's the thing that's going to make it fade into irrelevance? What chain is that?
It could be any of them. It could literally be any of them.
We sat around for like fucking 6 hours last night, tongue in cheek, shitting on every chain in the Cosmos in Jake's space. But there's an element of truth to it. We talk about 50 chains. How many good ones are there? Very few.
If I could tell you the future, I would not be on this Twitter Spaces right now.
Well, you're trying to tell us. You're telling us the future about Atom. You're telling us the future is going to be that Atom fades into insignificance. So let's look at
that's my opinion. It doesn't have to come true. I'm just telling you. I don't think Atom's going to be able to hold on to its position unless there's an actual value proposition. I think it's been able to hold on to its position because it's been a major on-ramp for people into the ecosystem. I really don't think it's offered anything other than that up until the most recent Cosmoverse when they're like, oh my God, we're going to do this Atom 2.0 thing. Like, is that true or not?
Well, I mean, it comes down to what you believe and what you value. I mean, like, all this talk of like Atom fading into irrelevance is one man's trash is another man's treasure. You can say basically the same thing about Bitcoin, which just so happens to be like comfortably the biggest, coin in crypto. What does Bitcoin do? Fuck all. But it's reasonably decentralized. It's safe. It's minimalist in the same way as Atom. And so like, I would personally sort of tend to lean towards this argument that Atom could well be like the proof of stake Bitcoin, the reserve currency of Cosmos. And a big part of that is the safety and security and minimalism of the hub, in terms of it never being halted. You show me another one of these.
If enough people believe that, it'll be true. You're totally right about that.
And so, well, I mean, enough people believe about Bitcoin, and again, I'm not trying to predict the future here, but I'm just sort of trying to counterbalance this argument that Atom's going to fade into insignificance in the Cosmos, because I think in order for it to fade into insignificance, there has to be some sort of relative significance from another chain. And look around the Cosmos at the moment. There's very few chains that are
I'll borrow some
relevant.
ideas from Jake last night that he brought up, because I'm too stupid to have my own. But what about the fact that Binance could literally just decide to launch their own chain, like, and have it be like identical or better than the hub? Like, they have the money and the resources to do it. If somebody wanted to destroy Cosmos Hub, like, they could literally put it under their thumb and do it in like a second.
Didn't CZ try with his investment in Layer Zero? I actually remember CZ making the actual tweet about Layer Zero replacing. I'm sure if you go back and you look, you'll see he made a massive investment in.
I mean, Layer Zero is fucking great. They're issuing omni-chain fungible tokens, which are gonna allow people to do like really cool shit, like cross-chain lending, and literally cross-chain anything.
Red Gang's on them, aren't they? Red Gang. Red Gang, that's what they're on, Layer Zero. Is that what they use with MintDAO, or? I know. Berserker told me they're on Mint Zero.
No, I think MintDAO is Axelar. I think they're actually transitioning from Layer Zero to Axelar, because Axelar is more in the Cosmos.
But they are on Layer Zero at the moment.
Yeah,
okay.
I think right now the Wolves are layers, or like someone's Layer Zero.
From Luna to Ethereum.
Collections are which?
From Luna to Ethereum. Yeah.
So let me get back to this question then. I remember Jake talking about that last night with Binance potentially doing this. I really don't understand it. But what's your understanding of why that is a concern to the hub, Avi?
I think the point was that he was trying to make, at least, is that people have the resources to do it if they viewed it as a lucrative opportunity. And maybe there's a reason why they're not doing it, but if they wanted to, it wouldn't be very hard. And I think that
it makes no sense to me. I mean, I'll bow down to Jake's superior crypto knowledge over my own. But if someone can explain to me how a centralized entity being able to connect to IBC is somehow like a threat to the hub, then I'm all ears.
I mean, in a lot of ways, let's put it this way. In a lot of ways, Luna is becoming a threat to the hub. And they, yeah, I mean, like, yeah, there's your answer right there. Somebody's doing it. And I don't think it's necessarily
not. Again, I think you're picking and choosing your arguments to suit the narrative here. Like, Luna, again, is a cosmos and chain. You know, if you want to talk about the threat of Luna is much more great to Juno than it is to the hub. So, you know, let's be realistic here.
I'm not putting Juno above the hub. I literally never said that.
But we've just talked about how basically, you know, the hub's vision, as sort of determined by the community in Prop 69, is that it's this minimalist hub. And that's certainly not the vision for Luna. Like, can Luna or can Terra, you know, get more adoption, get more users, generate more fees? Of course it can. It already did that, like, with Luna Classic pre-crash. You know, the hub's still here. Luna went down, crashed, went into an oblivion. The hub is still here. That's the entire point of the minimalist hub, is it not?
Dude, but the Stargate
totally. But like, just because it's still here, I mean, like what? Like Lindy effect? Like, okay, Adam's not going anywhere. Great. Now, I don't know. I mean, what happened with Luna was fucking horrible. But at the same time, like, they spun up again. They're basically iterating on what the hub is trying to do faster than they are. So, like, to me, the Cosmos hub it's kind of like the tortoise and the hare, right? And to me, the risk in being the tortoise is that you don't find product market fit fast enough, and other people are able to iterate faster than you are and do it before you can. And so if everyone's wish is for the hub, I'm sorry?
Doesn't Bitcoin completely contradict that opinion?
I mean, yeah, in a lot of ways it does. You're right. Like it is, again, like something that is a lot leaner than, let's say, like Ethereum. So if you want to like draw that comparison, like, sure. But at the same time, like, I don't know if there's a strong case to be made for Atom to be the Bitcoin of proof of stake. I think there's a stronger case to be made for Bitcoin to be Bitcoin. Like, I don't know, man. Like, it just, the same way a lot of things that I'm saying don't make sense to you, and we can't like put like a finger on them. That's how I feel about that argument. Like, why is Atom going to be the Bitcoin of Cosmos? Only strictly because people decide that they want it to be, right?
Yeah,
like,
and ultimately that's how everything in crypto is valued, right? Like, it's all this perceived value, because there's no like actual return on crypto. There's no like actual, you know, yield or anything to support a valuation anywhere in crypto, right? So this is how everything is.
There is with Bitcoin, no?
No.
There is the computation power of the network it's okay, fair enough.
Oh, potentially you can argue that, like, if you want to go all Michael Saylor on me, that Bitcoin is energy or whatever the hell, then yeah, sure. But, you know, all right, so let's put proof of work to one side, and just sort of focus on proof of stake. It's purely token printing, right?
You know what I'm going to fucking say about proof of stake? We renamed it proof of selfishness how long ago? I mean, these conversations, Rama said for how long proof of stake and governance in its current form is just purely unsustainable. Something is going to have to fucking give. And we see things time and time again with these foundation nodes that then collect the rewards. And then, you know, you see these fucking next thing is white labels popping up. And I mean, dude, don't tell me. I mean, we all know proof of stake is fucked. Like, sorry, I'm going to get less bullish on it by the day.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, like, I increasingly tend to sort of subscribe to that belief, but to sort of single out like the most successful, the most dominant, you know, the most well-known chain in Cosmos as being at more risk than any other, is just, or at more risk of sort of losing its dominance and fading into insignificance, is just, for me, that makes no sense at all. But, you know, each to their own.
Well, as someone who was involved, like politically at the time, on the Stargate upgrade, February like 2021, what you said about that minimalistic like approach, that was always the selling point. And in some ways, Juno piggybacked in off the back of like Atom's original like ethos. And Juno was like the next stage to like Atom. If anyone fucking knows exactly what I'm talking about, what was going on, what is going on, what the plans were, Atom was the first like indoctrination of their idea, but like Juno then took it a step further. Atom, dude, minimalistic is the fucking word that rings around my ears from February 2021. Like that was always the plan. It was always its integrity wouldn't be, and isn't that why the gravity shit kicked off? I mean, I know you guys were shit talking gravity today. I missed a lot of today. I only got me lunchtime, but like the gravity situation, that was probably the start of this like hub debacle that you're fucking still seeing today. Like, wasn't gravity?
Gravity bridge and gravity decks and all that kind of stuff was sort of like an early attempt at value accrual to the hub, wasn't it? Of course, and it didn't work out.
No, it was another coup. Jay kicked them out, did he? Who kicked them out?
The story with Gravity Bridge is quite an interesting one from my recollection, in that you had this sort of Atom community funded project that was supposed to bridge to other ecosystems and accrue value to the hub, right? And then along came Sunny, and Sunny provided them with resources and this, that, and the other, and basically convinced them to set up as their own chain. They then became very friendly with Osmosis, and at the last minute, Osmosis rugged them and went and selected Axelar as their canonical bridge, sort of leaving Gravity Bridge in the shit as their own chain, having alienated the Cosmos community, which I find like quite amusing, to be honest with you, in terms of Gravity Bridge, because like Gravity Bridge was basically largely funded by the Atom community. They did something like a pathetic 5% airdrop to Atom holders. They airdropped to Ion, whatever there are, holders. They couldn't even vote. Ion did nothing for nobody ever, and yet somehow got like a Gravity Bridge airdrop. That was just sort of more evidence of this alignment, or trying to pacify the Osmosis mafia, as you like to call them. And so like when it all sort of blew up in Gravity Bridge's face, and Osmosis sort of stabbed him in the back and went with Vaxelar, I found that whole situation very interesting. But in terms of like bringing it back to the hub, yeah, it was clearly, you look back at the Gravity Decks and Gravity Bridge and all this kind of stuff, and Emirates as just failed attempts at trying to preserve minimalism but accrue value to the hub. And so I guess interchain security is like the latest iteration of that attempt to bring value to the hub, and we'll see how it works out. But the whole minimalism thing, I think, was massively proven by the lunar collapse. When the whole ecosystem was stress tested in that situation of a change, just sort of disappearing into an oblivion. Osmosis liquidity pools got absolutely wrecked, went to zero. All these kind of other like consequences came from it, but ultimately the Cosmos kept going, and a large part of that was because the hub was minimalist and stayed and wasn't halted, and it was almost like a great big endorsement for that.
1 second, Darby. What's that? Sorry, whatever endorsement there? 1 second, Darby. I'm going to give you the floor straight away. What was that endorsement? What did you say there? Sorry?
So I'm just basically saying that the lunar collapse was effectively an endorsement of this need for a minimalist hub that will never halt.
Because of Tendermint and what? All right, okay. I want to say though very quickly before Harvey comes up, I want to say it only took a few words and a question, and Soy opened up like a fucking sardine tin there. You got all the news and the fucking gossip and the gen. Harvey, you're up, son.
I just don't really understand. Like, okay, so you're saying the hub, its biggest value add is the fact that it's minimalistic, right? And this minimalism has enabled it to survive. And so now, I want to see if you subscribe to this viewpoint or you think it's totally off. But basically what the hub is trying to do is like, let's keep ourselves minimalistic and let's like kind of create value around ourselves with these consumer chains, but then try and keep ourselves somewhat insulated from any problems, except for the fact that like if these chains go down, then like Atom can get slashed. Is that correct?
Yeah, but the hub isn't going to halt. It's the.
I'm not saying the hub's
slashing-
going to halt. I'm not saying the hub's going to halt. I'm just
Well,
saying
then
like
if the hub's not going to halt, then it's basically doing its job, isn't it?
I'm not saying it's not doing its job. Like, I'm just asking you, the biggest, like, basically Atom's value proposition is we're going to create value around ourselves, and then we're going to insulate ourselves from like downtime risk. But who is taking on the risk of these new consumer chains? And it's going to be the validators or delegators, right? Is that a correct assessment, or is that not right?
Well, yeah, because they're also going to, accrue the value, and so it's like you should maybe start to see like the hub and Neutron and Noble and these consumer chains effectively as one chain with like a hub and spoke model, right? And so
correct,
it's going to create like its own sort of mini ecosystem. And if you stake Atom, you stand to benefit from the value accrual of all these spoke chains around it, whilst preserving that minimalism. And so this is like, I guess this is like, a theory that I sort of tend to subscribe to. And I mean, I voted, I can't remember which way we had to vote, but I voted against adding Cosmosm to the hub on Prop 69. So I think that was a no vote. But there's very much people like the Beyonce's husbands and the Zakis of this world who very much wanted to, put Cosmosm, spit it out, sorry, Cosmosm on the hub. And they would probably, point to issues with ICS and want to wind back time.
Really off topic now. So my point that I'm trying to make, because I know the point you're trying to make. You've been making it like for the past 15 minutes. The point I'm trying to make is, what is the hub's moat?
What is a moat?
A moat is basically what kind of like insulates you to some degree from like somebody else taking market share from you. Like, what is their moat? Do they have like an exclusivity contract with these chains that are launching on the hub? Like, do we know like the intentions of a lot of these chains? Like, are they planning on sticking around as a consumer chain forever? Are they just trying to figure out like product market fit and then launch as their own independent chain later? Like what is the real relationship? Because I think the thing I'm trying to figure out is like, even if that was the case, right, where people launch consumer chains, find product market fit, and then go ahead and launch their own chain down the line, that's not necessarily a bad thing for the hub, right? Because we're assuming that there's going to be increased demand for consumer chains, and then like people maybe like growing up and getting their training wheels off and going and doing their own thing is probably actually a good thing, right? Because it means we have maybe like higher quality chains in the ecosystem to begin with. But I'm just trying to figure out like what is it that makes the hub special and like will continue delivering value for people with Atom? Because frankly, you're right. They are at the top, and it's going to be hard for them to become irrelevant. I don't think it's impossible. But what I'm trying to figure out is like, what's going to keep them relevant, because they do have the target on their backs. Like that's my big question, is like, what's going to keep them relevant in the long run?
Well, I think a big part of it is pretty simple. It's the name. There's a lot of attempts from the likes of Juno and Osmosis and these kind of people who want to sort of try and get the hub to change its name from they're trying to try and say it's not the real hub. We hear like this narrative about interchain and stuff like this. But if you ask anyone outside of Cosmos, what's the interchain? No one's got a fucking clue. If you ask people what's Cosmos, people know what Cosmos is. I mean, like, embarrassingly, like Osmosis paid 50 grand to Bankless to promote Osmosis. And they basically said that Osmosis was like a sort of a chain built on Cosmos or something like this. And they didn't even know, and that's why you get these repeated efforts from Osmosis and Juno to undermine this branding, this hub, this Cosmos branding. And it's a massive, massive factor. It's like if you were to take the Coca-Cola brand name and say, right, you can't use that brand name anymore, you know, Coca-Cola would basically fail overnight. And that's how significant that is.
Did you
Okay,
compare
so it's just the name.
Coca-Cola? I'm just checking, dude. I'm just checking. Wait. Did you compare Coca-Cola to the hub, like in regards to what? Yeah, like what Brandon or what?
It's an example of it's an example of the importance and the power of branding. Yeah, of course it is.
Yeah. You know something? I think the problem with Atom or the hub, whatever, right? You want to call it, yeah. I think the problem with that distinct particular thing, we'll call it the Cosmos hub, right? Which is the security for IBC or supplies the security, right? Like let's understand, like it's like significance, like in the greater picture. I mean, like I say, I come from a purist view where it was always going to be like minimalistic, blah blah blah, like literally. I mean, what's the doomsday scenario? If people can't agree and fucking, you know, people get sick or whatever. If this thing is that what underpins the entire security, and it's probably going to get worse with ICS, right? Like in regards to like its outreach in security. I mean, what's the doomsday scenario?
The likelihood is that the security of the hub increases by virtue of having these consumer chains. So, like I said, you know, you've now got Cosmosm outsourced to Neutron, so we can start to have like interesting stuff built on Neutron that still preserves that hub minimalism, right? And that will accrue value back to the hub. That value accrues back to the hub. The hub, you know, increases in market cap. The security increases. The security of the consumer chains increase. It all becomes more attractive, and it's this basic flywheel for increased security, right? So that's how that all sort of works.
So what if Mesh comes in and fucking steals the thunder?
So Mesh is like, for me, again, quite amusing.
I'm hearing people. Sorry. I'm hearing people saying, "Fucking hell, Mesh is going to come in and like be like boom, and it's going to be like people are going to be fucking nuked." And I've got a feeling.
Because like it's a competitive element, isn't it?
Well, the osmosis fucking mafia is involved, isn't it? I mean, obviously Jake broke bread to go there, but if you know Sonny, and if he's deep in Mesh, and if that's a fucking, you know, a pullback, dude, you know what I'm talking about.
Listen, I got a lot of time for Sonny. The guy's like absolute genius, like and very tactical chess player sort of guy, and like massive respect to Sonny. But it's not like he's never been wrong. I mean, like look at superfluid staking. You know, who cares about superfluid staking? Nobody, right? It's irrelevant. If we want to talk about irrelevance, let's talk about superfluid staking.
I've never done it.
Yeah, nobody cares about it. It didn't work, right? And so the next attempt in terms of competing with the hub is this mesh security idea. Now, again, I'll go back to last night's space with Jake, where we, you know, tongue in cheek go around and laugh at every chain in Cosmos. So now let's talk about which chains are going to mesh together. You know, we're gonna see Osmosis mesh with Juno, and basically all the centralizing effects that has on those validator sets. Who else is going to mesh with these chains? Like, where is this like mesh of security going to come from? Because if Osmosis and Juno mesh together their entire security, that's probably comes to about a fifth of the security of the hub. So enlighten me as to like how this mesh security is a great idea.
Does everyone gone quiet, right? So you know something. The thing is, in real life, mesh networks right now with what's happened with the censorship and stuff, mesh networks are being set up like within certain communities, and it's an interesting like concept that's going on like underground kind of thing as well at the minute, like outside of crypto, just in normal life. With people like with payment mechanisms and stuff. If anyone knows what I'm talking about, if anyone's been on the Tim Pool show, you should know about the mesh networks and about how they're growing as well. Anyway, guys, I'm fucking off me. Rama's asleep, isn't he? There's no one going to come up and speak, guys. We've got, right, Bruce, Slinks, anyone, Shroot, Amir, our plebs, come up and fucking speak. Talk about what the fuck you like.
Bro, I'm afraid to speak when those big ass brains are talking. I have nothing to add on to that shit. I'm just trying to understand.
All right, I'm gonna be the first to say that we're just bullshitting up here. I mean, we have ideas, but at the end of the day, like I respect Soy's opinion a lot, and I learn from listening to him. I don't know if he learns from listening to me, but at the same time, I think the reason why I like getting in Twitter Spaces in the first place is because I'm always curious to hear what people who think differently from me are thinking in their heads. It's like it's probably one of the most valuable ways to like try and check yourself. And I mean, I agree.
You
with
got some venom. You got some venom in your voice, though. You got some venom in your voice. I've heard you a few times. You're a bit fucking. You're a bit cutthroat. You're a bit. I've heard Harvey like don't give a fuck.
You can have that and still have respect for and learn from the people that you're talking to. I mean, like I think it's important to have conviction in the things that you believe in, but I also think it's important to change your mind if you have new information that's presented to you. So, I mean, yeah, should I be a little bit nicer?
You know you were one of the main players on that almost 4,000 hits spaces with the Notional Kujira one where like Gaines like changed the title. He's like Q&A like as if like Notional and Kujira were up there together, but it wasn't. Jacob was on. He finished. Like you came in, right, and then Dead Right come up. Hey, nearly 4K, man. Harvey was one of the fucking top speakers, like on that. Yeah. Robo's got receipts for everything, man. I love this shit, man. It's not that I'm like literally. It's not that I'm addicted to Twitter Spaces. Listen, I just feel like okay, right. When I listen to many spaces, they were fucking bland. You know the word bland, right? Like a shit soup or something, right? Not even a splash of pepper in there, whatever. Like, you need to have that fucking cultured, like, don't give a fuck, gonna drive hard shit home. Like, people like Harvey and Soy might have a debate there, but they're gonna agree on, like, 100 things, and they feel like, this is what it's about. We come together, and we just make sure everyone's got a voice. And if someone would try to shout you down, we're like, nah, mate, you're not doing that. Like, that's not how it works. And I don't know. Tonight, maybe some people got opinions. I don't know how you feel about either group tonight because we've got no one in the chat related to the parties. Soy,
so what I'm hearing is
true,
we don't need either of these grants programs.
Okay,
that's my takeaway from this conversation. Fund public goods, and if they want to fund themselves, they can submit a fucking prop if it's a public good.
Yeah, I think
just quickly, like I just want to mention that. Yeah, I mean, like going back to what Avi was saying before we like add that little bit there. Like I got a lot of time for Avi, and the guy is well deserved of his place on the Juno subDAO. Talks a lot of sense, pretty much all the time, apart from when he's talking about atoms of relevance, and he's dead right. We get on, we debate these things, and there's no like animosity or anything. It's just like a game of opinions, isn't it? And you bounce around ideas, and hopefully it's like, what do they say, like hypothesis, antithesis, synthesis, right? That's how you get to better, more informed opinions. And so yeah, like happy to always sort of engage with Avi and this, that, and the other. He's a good quality speaker in the cosmos. As regards those props,
sorry, I'm gonna extend that. And I was in the group chat, in the Dejan group chat, right, with the lads. Like, I was getting, where's Harvey? He's been missing for ages. He was like, after the Joe thing, so after the FTX Rogue, he wasn't in the best place. And then shit came along, we had loads of fun. There was epic shit going on, massive spaces. And then I know you might have to go to work and all that. And like literally they were like, where's Harvey? Like, I don't think he probably like understands like how valued he is in the eco, like as a voice, like of reason. You know, not as autistic as Rama, but like somewhere on the scale. You know, heading towards like shoebox status. I don't know. But yeah,
Let's stop talking about me and let's get back to the point that Shroot was talking about. 'Cause it's a little bit more interesting. But yeah, Soy was going to say something about what Shroot said.
I can't remember what Shroot said. Were we talking about the two props?
The community spends and like the funding stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think that sort of now that we've committed to having additional funding for the community pool, eventually something's going to get done about that. So, like, a grants program of some sort is an inevitability. I'm personally of the opinion that it's probably a little bit rushed, and I think the fact that it's a bit rushed is arousing suspicion about the motivations for the guys who are doing it. I haven't read the Brian prop yet. My first impression on that is that it's a no from me. Let's just say it's a no from me on the Brian prop until I've had a real sort of deep dive into it. I think there's reasons to be sort of suspicious and stuff about the first one, and the conflicts of interest and stuff like that. But I think the caliber of the team is like infinitely greater than the second proposition, and with a bit more clarity, I think it could offer something. So that's kind of my take on the whole thing at the moment.
Or someone should just go wake up fucking Ethan Buckman and tell fucking Interchain to do their job.
And
well, yeah,
so, you haven't got any conflict of interest, have you? I mean, you would tell us if you had any conflicts, obviously. Yeah, you haven't.
Like mate, I can't really do anything more than sort of declare who I work for and talk openly and this, that, and the other. But the easiest thing in the world for me to get up here and tell everyone everything's going to be okay. There's going to be thousands of fucking secured chains and this kind of stuff like that. But it's just not who I am. You know, I try and call things as I see them, irrespective of whatever bias I may theoretically have. So, like, if you can kind of like find conflicts of interest that I may have, then and point them out to me, then I can try and be more mindful of them. But I do try and sort of be mindful of them.
Yeah, I respect that you called it the other day. No, do. Thank you so much. Go on, Harvey.
While Soy puts together his list of conflicts, I'm gonna try and say this in the least amount of words as possible. I think that investment sub-DAOs or whatever the fuck you want to call them are a great idea if they are focused on delivering ROI for either their own treasury or the community pool or whatever money is determined to be like managed by them to incubate or grow the chain. Because I think that creates an actual, like the idea at least is for it to actually create a sustainable source of funding in the long term. I think the grants programs, the reason why I'm starting to think that these are a bad idea is because these groups charge a ton of money to run them. They fund projects. I'm not saying the projects they fund are bad, but usually the terms are not favorable for the stakers or the community pool. It's usually just like this idea that, hey, we're going to have this really cool thing on our chain. Maybe there's like some degree of exclusivity for a period of time or whatever. But I don't actually think that accrues any value for the users of the chain. And so one thing I really like about what Grow Juno is trying to do is the fact that we're building in these avenues for return, not only to the treasury that we're managing, but also to either the stakers or the community pool. And then governance can decide what to do with either that revenue or that token allocation that was set aside for the Juno community pool. Like that to me, and then it's like goes beyond that. If you're looking at a project that's a public good, I think at the very minimum, it should be only getting funded if there's an avenue for that project to eventually repay a zero interest loan, basically on that funding. And that might be kind of like a hard ask in a bull market, but I think right now, it's easier to negotiate terms where there can be some degree of fee sharing until a grant is either partially repaid or fully repaid. And that may take like a year or 2 years or whatever. But as long as those terms are in place, I think that's really important, because like there's been a lot of wasteful spending in the past, and now that money is just gone, and those products haven't even either stuck around or been utilized. So that's just like a fucking waste of space.
Guys, I'm fucking ordering McDonald's. Fucking someone better fucking speak. Hurry up. I'll be back in a minute, dudes.
I'm going to pose a question to the group in hopes of getting some other people's input on this. So what would people think about, like, I'm trying to think of just incentive alignment for the people that serve on like these grants committees or like sub-DAOs or whatever. Just to make sure that, like, I don't know, money is being spent responsibly. So there's like some degree of skin in the game. Yeah, I guess, like, what do people think about people on these grant committees or funding committees or whatever, basically being given like options to purchase shares in like whatever thing that they end up funding in the future? So it's like they're basically aligned for its success.
I like Jake. I like Jake's I like talking about these vesting contracts and payroll contracts for like many hours and stuff now. Like, I like the idea of, like, let's say you join a sub-DAO, there's a period of commitment, etc. And let's say that it gets vested like 50%. And that 50% like unbonds over the period of time. So it's like 12 months, or I think one prop is 9 months and one prop is 6 months. Is that right, guys? The current signaling props that are being put up, that's not on chain, on Commonwealth, right? Like, I don't know. Like, I like the idea of, like, dude, fuck me, man. I'm fucking sick of it. Will there ever be an answer? Will there ever be an answer to fucking like this shit right now or not?
Well, probably not at the end of the day, because the problems that we're talking about all sort of come down to basically being human and human nature to basically, pursue power and money and all this kind of stuff like that. And that's the kind of thing that presents all these problems. That's the root cause of all these issues with proof of stake and centralization and, conflicts of interest and all that kind of stuff. It's all because we're human at the end of the day. And this issue about incentive alignment is it's an important topic when you're talking about these sort of grants thing, because like what sort of Avi's suggesting there, it came up with the osmosis grants thing with Reverie. And it's a similar thing that I mooted at the time. I was like, well, wouldn't there was a project on Osmo, I forget what it was now, but they funded it and it failed, and like they officially failed, and there's like some money lost basically because they funded this proposal.
Void protocol. It stopped when when,
the ironically named Void
protocol. Wormhole shit or whatever.
Yeah. So like, just like as a bit of a knee-jerk idea, I was like, well, what if we sort of, instead of paying these guys USDC and Osmo, what if we paid them as like an allocation from the projects that they fund? And on the one hand, it's like, a reasonable idea. It aligns incentives there, but it just creates another conflict of interest, because then you're basically encouraging more, incentivizing them to just throw shit at a wall, and effectively, like, there's just all they would do is just like throw money at everything, right? Because eventually one of these things is going to work out and they're going to get well paid in their tokens. So I don't know. It's not an easy question.
Bro, we have
the protection against that. Robo, let me answer this real quick, because I think it's kind of important. So, like, I don't have I actually don't agree with this idea of like having options, because I think that, like you said, it kind of aligns the incentives in an ideal world, but it doesn't really do that, because you don't stand to lose anything when shit goes wrong, which is what you're saying. Like, I think there needs to be skin in the game in that respect. I don't think, like, I don't know, that would make people a lot more careful. And the problem with that is that the risk in early stage funding is just so damn high, right? So like even if something is a really great idea, it can still fail for like the wrong reasons. So I think that's the reason why like nothing was kind of put in on like the punishment side per se. But I would say that I think like in the ideal world, the goal is you could throw money at a bunch of different things and like hope one of them sticks. But if you only have a limited amount of funds and you can only fund so many projects and you are acting in both the best interest of the community and yourself, because now you stand to potentially profit from something if you have options to buy it in the future, then you would want to maximize that opportunity for both parties. But again, like I recognize that's like a very like idealistic view.
Yeah, something that was brought up in because Terra was having this same issue with their Luna 2 community funds, and something that they brought up that was really interesting was you have a lot of these things that aren't public goods coming and sticking their hand out for cash, right? And one of the like things that I thought was really interesting was you can't come to the community pool and ask for shit if you're not a public good unless you have like dollar for dollar outside funding also being brought to the table. So if you're coming in and requesting, I think it was like in the scenario they said like over $50,000. Like if you're coming and asking for $100K, well, you better fucking have gone out there to some fucking VCs or your fucking grandma and gotten $100K and be able to verify that up that, hey, we're requesting $100K, but we also have this $100K that we're bringing to the table as well. And I think that's kind of interesting, especially again, when you're talking, non-public good kind of things, like, because essentially you're coming on Shark Tank and asking for fucking, a grant and free money. So I think that's a very interesting thing that I think should be explored.
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable policy for a grants program in terms of like, making decisions on which projects to fund. I think what Abby's talking more about is the incentive alignment for the people actually who are, the sharks, the dragons of the Dragon's Den, the people who are actually sort of making the decisions rather than like how to, approve particular projects or not. And so
it's also a way to maximize success, ideally.
What is?
Like this idea of not funding shit projects is the goal. Because like that was the main issue with TDF, I feel like, was we just kind of threw money at things and we're just hoping they would work out maybe. And I think now we're trying to figure out like, okay, well, we have more experience on the SubDAO from like building a business from the ground up, but also VC funding and also mergers and acquisitions. So we have that experience, but now it's like, how do we actually channel that into funding projects that have the highest chance for success?
Yeah, and honestly, like the whole, options in these projects and things like that, like then that if that was how they were going to be funded, saying like, hey, I'm Void Protocol and you're going to get, you guys as the 7-member panel, which I think just presents a whole bunch of other fucking issues, because then you can just keep throwing, good money after bad because they have a, maybe a monster stake in it. Then why would they shouldn't even be funded by the community pool to run that. Like that should just be some outside, mercenary group that comes and says, hey, we'll be your advisors and you're going to give us, what I mean? Like X percentage. Like, why would they even be employed by, quote unquote, the community pool? Like that should just be some, mercenary group, which is to some extent what I think Alpha Growth is, right? Like they've built a platform to intake grants, and then it seems like they just kind of hook up grants to the various ecosystems that I haven't read the full prop and like done a side-by-side comparison, but to me, it just seems like Alpha Growth is this like connector more than anything, where they're just a massive, CRM almost of.
Look, you're not wrong. That's totally, you're totally spot on. But I think the idea is like, we want to grow Juno, right? Like we don't want to be some mercenary group. Like we want to grow this ecosystem. Also, Secret Lovers has had their hand up for like a really long time.
Yes, no worries. Like Shrewd said, there's obviously something wrong with this. I'm not even sure we need this, because so much debate. It means there's something off. But
I was on a space this morning with what's her name, Sandeep, and the Polygon guys, Sandeep and Frank Degas and these guys. Everybody was asking how to bridge the Ethereum to Polygon and Matic and stuff like this. And so I just asked them a simple question: is that you guys are built on SDK, so when bridging getting into the properly on IBC interoperability. So nobody could answer this. It reflects something that the true problem is that we need some education and proper marketing to get that of these guys. This is my thought about that.
Hey, Secret, while you're up here, have you heard all this about the Secret team are suing Tor Bear now for fraud in the network?
Tor Bear is being sued, yeah, by what? The Secret Foundation?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's judges and laws, and that's what it is.
Dun dun dun.
It's funny you mentioned that. I had a thought about this for these two growth proposals. They were speaking about legal fees and stuff like this, right? So and couldn't like some lawyer in America spin up a contract and have like in the contract no conflict of interest and no some accountability that they have to refund the money with if there's something goes
Wow.
wrong. No,
Wow.
this is impossible.
You really don't want to talk about Tor, do you? You really don't want to talk about Secret and Tor, do you?
I don't know the gentleman. I don't know what's the accusation. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not in any jurisdiction. So hey, pardon me. Yeah, I'm driving, and this guy is Tor Bear, man. Good luck to him. If I'm sure he has enough funds to get an excellent lawyer and get out of whatever problem he has, and if not, then he will go to whatever sentence or pay his une amende. How do you call it? Fine. His fine. Yeah.
All that matters is what you can prove in court. Yeah, I don't know. Sorry. I'm very invested in exploring this incentive alignment discussion a little bit further. So I want to pose like another idea. What about if this is like if the project is amenable to it. I'm not saying all projects will be, but what if instead of it being the people on the sub-DAO purchasing options or having the option to buy into a project at a later date, given its success, what if that option was transferred to the community, where the community would purchase larger and larger shares of the entity or protocol as it grows at predefined, I guess, like prices based off of like market cap or like potential growth? So basically, let's say Juno wants to incubate a project and the project needs funding, and they're going to give us like 10% or 15% of the tokens, and they're being valued at like $1 million. We get those first round of tokens at that valuation. And then once they hit like another milestone in valuation, we would have the option to buy tokens, let's say at like 25 cents or something. And this would either lead to a dominant share in the protocol, so like a 51% scenario, or just like a large enough share to where if they were generating a substantial amount of revenue, it would positively benefit the community pool.
So Terra had something kind of like what you're describing. I don't know if I'm the only. I see Slinks down there. I don't know who else is a former Terra degen, but it was like, what was it, Pylon's protocol? So like you would be able to kind of essentially, you as a community member, like projects would put their things on the site, and you as a community member would essentially be able to fund it. And then based on how much funding you provided, I forget what the levels were, but based on like how much Pylon you were staking or dollars you were pledging, you essentially got like a vested amount of tokens that trickled to you over a 6-month period or a 12-month period or an 18-month period. And obviously the longer you chose, the more beneficial your quote unquote APR of your investment would be. And then the beauty of that is at the end of the 18 months, you have accrued the tokens that they were going to give you, but then your original investment like comes back to you. So essentially you're kind of these companies, these not-for-profit or these for-profit companies are essentially like just taking your money as, an interest-free loan but by returning you, tokens from the project. That was, I was a fan of that. I think I was doing that with a couple projects before shit hit the fan. I think like XDeFi Wallet was on there. I know there was a couple other things, like maybe I think one of them was like, I can't recall. I'd have to go check it out. But I think that was a very interesting, funding model.
So this, I guess, like from a conceptual perspective, then this kind of makes sense to people. It sounds like it's not like a foreign concept. So the reason why I brought up these two different options is because I think another thing that's important to think about is like the people that are serving on either these grants programs or like the growth fund or like whatever, at some point, need to be compensated for the time that they're putting in. And I'm not saying like everyone should get paid like a flat rate just because they're serving on a sub-DAO. Like I think I can be the first to say that like some people add a ton of value, and some people don't add, or maybe like they add value, but like the amount of time they put in is not as much as others. So that's like, it's hard to kind of figure out like how to put this is what your value or add is worth, like number on it.
Correct.
But I think that the first option where it was like having options for those individuals makes it so that the burden of paying these people is no longer on the community pool, in the sense that like Grow Juno was looking at or considering like paying people on the sub-DAO invested Juno over a period of time. And there were a lot of options being thrown around. But then the other thing was like, if that happens, then it's like more sell pressure on Juno. I mean, it's not going to be an insane amount, but still, it's like it's not the greatest thing, maybe. So then the other option would be to have these options that they could buy, and that's how they would realize a return on the time that they've invested in doing due diligence on these things, right? And then the other option would be like, no, all of the proceeds and all of the revenue from like incubating these projects goes straight to the community pool. But then the community has to agree that like, okay, so we're going to pay these people in Juno, right? Because like the money has just got to come from somewhere. We're just kind of shifting where it's coming from. And these are just like my personal like ideas, and I'm throwing them around to just see like what people think, because I don't really think like they're different ideas, but like in a lot of ways they're kind of similar.
Yeah, I think it's very funny because like obviously grants programs have been around for a while, and like I think the answer is that there is no good answer, because someone would have figured it out by now, a way that works. I think my biggest problem with both of the grant, or at least the first grants proposal, is that like while those guys have experience and some of them have pretty impressive resumes, when you come and you ask for, quote unquote, this is what do they say, the industry standard for a grants administration program. My first thought that comes to mind is, bitch, you've never administered a grants program. Like, so how do you expect to get, fair market value for a grants program that, one, you've never done before, and two, most of I would argue the first 3 months of your grants program administering is going to be setting all this shit up, and not like, you know what I mean? Like there's not I've said it before, like no one's knocking down the door to request grants on Cosmos Hub right now. So like, what are they going to be doing for that first time frame? And that hasn't really clearly been articulated. Like, I know, Robo's BFF Bendy is a marketing guy, but like, you know what I mean? Like what's the plan? Like, where are we going to go get all these things? And like that's what Reverie, like, quote unquote, offered to Osmosis, right? Is that, oh, well, we have all these connections with all these people on ETH and this, that, and the other thing. And and I guess I just don't really see some of the the fruits of those relationships coming to fruition on the hub. So or sorry, wrong hub, on Osmosis. So I don't know. I think my biggest beef with it is, like I said, they're coming and asking for the quote unquote going rate for the industry. And it's like, this is an experiment for you guys. Like, none of you guys have administered a grants program. Like, yes, you maybe have some tangentially, similar experience, whether it be VCs or whatever, but like, I think it's a different beast when, you're doing it on behalf of this, community pool. But
so if I'm hearing you correctly, then it sounds like you're not in favor of paying people up front in the native token of whatever chain they're on, but you maybe would be more in support of this options thing where it's like they only get paid if they incubate successful projects.
I mean, I think it should be there should be some sort of
it could also flip-flop, right? Where it starts out that way and then changes if they prove to be useful. Because I think that's like a big problem right now, right? Is exactly what you said. Like, people come in and they're just kind of like, I'm the shit. I'm going to fucking grow this shit. Let's fucking go. Pay us whatever.
Yeah,
and then it's like nothing happens.
But I think a lot of this is really hard to gauge, like how, I mean, there are some things we can do, but it's really hard to gauge, like, was it successful, right? Like, people knocked Reverie for like the void protocol thing like that. But to me, like that was like, shit like that's going to happen. Like, it's like baseball, right? Like, if you hit 3 out of 10 pitches in baseball, you're considered a fucking Hall of Famer, right? Like, you go to the Hall of Fame if you bat 300,
Totally.
Like, so a grants program, I think, is like that, right? Like, you just have to have a couple really clutch fucking hits in the World Series to, make a name for yourself. And, trying to incentivize that over long periods of time, I think, is really difficult. I don't think it's not doable, but trying to get it right is just, I mean, like, obviously we could probably talk about this till we're blue in the face. And like I said, I think there is no right answer because someone would have come up with some sort of, you know what I mean? Like, how many grants programs have there been on ETH and, all these other chains, right? Like, no one's really come up with like a bulletproof way of, hey, we're going to fund these grant administrators, and then those same grant administrators are going to administer, we're contracting it out to them, paying them to administer the grants that, they could just come on chain and cut out the middleman. So like, I would argue if we A/B test like how successful no grants program is, and you just request from the community pool like every other fucking pleb has to do, versus having a grants program, I would argue it'd be very difficult to kind of, if you are blind testing, chains and their success, maybe you'd be able to peg which one had a grants program and which one didn't. But like, I think when you have large amounts of people voting, like the regular community was just voting for all these proposals, I think, some would pass, some wouldn't. And then just like the grants program administrators, some are going to make it through, some aren't. Like, maybe that list will have a higher hit rate, but overall, like, as time goes on, I don't know that there would be that much of a difference, to be honest. I think there's like probably a spot for a group of people to provide advisory services to groups trying to put together grants proposals and help usher them through in more of an advisory role rather than, have a bunch of people administer grants. And maybe that's to some extent, I don't know if that's what you guys are doing on Grow Juno. Like, if people,
I was going to say, it's like
are you helping
that's like
shape
literally
them
exactly
and,
what we're trying to do.
Yeah, because like, I think like what I often see, in my current job is we'll have really smart operations people, and then we have really smart like engineers. But when those two people try to talk to each other, it like a lot gets lost in translation. And unless there's some sort of, conduit that kind of speaks both sides, that's why I think business development does exist to some extent. And that's why we do these stupid things like, Agile and Scrum to like, get ops and engineering together to fucking, build the right things. But I almost think there is a place for some sort of third party, maybe outside of, being paid by the community pool. And then those advisors, like, obviously would charge a fee, like almost like a lawyer, right? Like, I'll come to you and I'll help you. If I have faith in what you're trying to build, like, yeah, I'll spruce up your fucking grants proposal. But hey, as a result, if you get this $100,000, you're going to fucking, toss me 10% of that for, helping you get your grant. There's people that do grants writing for a living, right? Like, so it's not unheard of. So I don't know. I think we're basically paying to have people just review it so that people on chain don't have to review it, right? Like, so I guess at the end of the day, we just have to ask ourselves, is that service worth $700,000? And do we think that, the value that of the things that they're going to select, is that going to outweigh, the cost?
Okay, listen. Before you put me to sleep here, good Lord, leave it to a bunch of plebs to argue over how to spend a bunch of money that's not even fucking theirs. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, like, we're middlemaning funds that aren't even ours. So unless you can remove the human aspect from it, you're never, ever going to have a perfect system that doesn't give bias towards their homies or our homies. That's just how it is. People are shit. We're all shit. So you can have the AI do it. You can have the AI do it. I'm not finished.
Is that your man, Torres Spaces? Is that your man?
I'm not finished. Don't call me that. Don't call me that in public.
They already put Rama to sleep. I think Rama's already been asleep for like 30 minutes, right?
No, I know. It's been painful listening to this, but I just, like, you guys are trying to sort an issue that has, fuck him. Fuck Rama. Fuck you.
I just want to make sure.
Fuck you too.
Like,
Robo, did you tuck him in before you, did you put the blanket over him on the shoebox, Robo?
Fucking daft cunt. He's on a fucking bed of rice. That's where he belongs. He's. You can't control this kid, man. I give up. A long time ago.
Hey Finn, if Grow Juno gives you like $1,000 for Terra Spaces, will you just shut up and like go off into the moonlight? Like, what do you want?
He's not going away. We're stuck with him. He's going to be recording for the next.
Do you know what was funny tonight? What was funny is Dead Right Dove, who is obviously like South African, like just looking down his nose at Rama. Like, yeah, you fucking plebs and you fucking everything wants to kill you fucking convict motherfuckers. Like, your man Dead Right was all over it tonight, joining in the crack like he knew what was going on, man. That was fucking class tonight.
I mean, all I'm saying is Coogie's kicking in and I ain't fucked off yet. So, y'all each chain makes their own choice. You guys do whatever you want. You want to be remembered in the annals of history, or you want to be forgotten like dust in the wind?
Wait, the best one tonight was when I said to Dead Right, I went, do you know, Coogie's the only fucking bag that Finn owns that we haven't footed live on a RAC FM Spaces? And he's like, oh, thank you. Oh my God. Oh, the smell. Amazing.
Classic new car smell. Love it. Love what you guys are doing here, though. Like, I hope you guys keep it up for the rest of the day and into the night, and then back into the morning.
We're solving. We're solving all the galaxy's
work.
Problems right here, Finn. So.
Oh no, I heard. I'm very impressed. I'm surprised we even have any problems left. I got 99 problems, but none of them are in this galaxy.
Yeah, they're all on all nodes. They've got all the problems over there. So.
Yeah, I ain't got no all nodes problems. All my validators are on the up and up.
I invited someone up to speak, Bobby, because money and funding and about this and about this, and he's a what's it called? Chartered accountant,
a marketer.
Oh, dude, someone's ringing me. No, he's a chartered accountant, and like when people talk about money. Dude, someone's ringing me. I'm getting rugged here. Wait a minute, dude.
It's okay, Robo. We'll talk here for a minute.
And I mean, sometimes you got to bring in professionals, but you also got to keep in mind that they're just humans too, and they're going to,
I think
help out their homies.
Whenever you talk about spending community pool funds, it's going to be difficult. You're lucky if you make 40% of the people happy. That has somewhat amount of atom stakes. You're not even gonna get close to get to 50-60%. And then hopefully out of 50% of the funds, you get one or two good projects. So it's always going to be difficult to spend And, the grants programs, like you guys were saying, who knows? Neither one might be the way to go. One team might be the way to go. It's always, it's difficult.
I mean, if you look at it this way, like if you look at just like normal ass dumb fucking politics, like within a single country, people of the same fucking race in the same country can't even like agree on the same shit. Now, zoom out on that. We have a whole globe of fucking people with all sorts of different reference points and cultural backgrounds and all that shit. And like, you're definitely not going to get them all to agree on the same shit unless you give them like 20% or more airdrop.
Well, different people, different backgrounds, also different levels of technical understanding. You got the validators, you got the devs.
Yeah, exactly.
Guys, I really want to bring Slinks in. I really do. Darling, 1 second. Bobby's jumped up. Bobby, I really appreciate it. I did invite you and I invited you when they were talking about the money and the funding and if you, dude, was sitting listening, I bet like as an accountant where responsibility and accountability is key. Bobby, can you talk about from a professional perspective how you feel about what you're hearing?
Well, yeah. So,
and hello, by the way. Hello, Bobby. Hello, by the way.
What's
Bobby.
up, guys?
Dude, I'm fine. How's Seamus? Is Seamus kicking on all right? Is he all right or what?
Oh, yeah. Seamus.
Hey, one question at a time, bro.
Sorry, dude.
One question at a time. Let the man
That's
talk.
cool. Yeah,
Come on.
Seamus is fully recovered. He's running around and causing a mess, and just in the nick of time with all the snow that we're getting here in Alaska. So, yeah, he's doing good. Thanks for asking, Robo.
Cool as fuck. Right, Bobby, you've been listening. I'm going to shut up.
Yeah, no, I've been listening, just kind of doing my random work. Yeah, so I am a CPA. I'm a certified public accountant here in the U.S. And so just in my history and understanding of, when it comes to oversight of funds, generally speaking, especially if more along the lines of a public company, you're going to want to have an oversight committee who doesn't necessarily have any skin in the game, but is going to be held, they're going to have to sign off and overview and, be what's called accountable for any decision or direction that something's going. Generally speaking, when you have an audit, you have an audit review committee. And the audit review committee of many of these boards don't necessarily need to be a part of the organization. They could be on the board of directors or outside of it. And when I say that, they're not getting, necessarily bonuses or stock options for, how things are going outside of their own maybe investments that are already.
So quick question. When in a space that might work in larger spaces and stuff in big industry, right. But here, how do you, because everybody does kind of know each other because there's only, 8 devs in the whole crypto ecosystem. How do you find a committee that is, intelligent enough to be able to, have a broad understanding, somebody like Chepe, right? He's got a pretty broad understanding about a lot of different shit, but he's probably only an expert in bringing people back from the dead or whatever the fuck he does. But yeah, you have that problem of finding a committee that's going to be able to make well-informed decisions on the projects that they may have no fucking clue about because you're trying to pick people that are so far removed from the space to be able to not have that bias. So you got to find that happy medium in there of less bias, but you still know a thing or two about keeping your own keys and shit.
I agree. But I will also say in my experience, we don't necessarily on these oversight committees or review boards or anything that has to do with any kind of oversight of a, either a particular function like an audit or just with regards to the company in general. They're not necessarily experts, industry experts or business experts, but generally just people that are bound to look at after the best interests of the company, right? And so, that's why you have a CEO and CFO to, actually make business decisions and guide a business to go a certain, and that's kind of operations and let those guys build and do the things they need to. But when it comes to oversight and making sure they're doing things ethically or, above board, you're going to just want people with, for, I guess, best best example is just to have a
GEDs are better, right?
GEDs are better. Like a good background, right? Like, I mean, and so it's a mixed bag. And to be honest with you, with crypto being, and these types of, oversight committees and grants and fundings that are just like becoming popular, especially, I guess, here in Cosmos. But, I would say it's going to be like, there's going to be a learning curve that's going to be had. And I think we're going to learn more from experience and on the job training than just saying we're just going to pick the best of the best and that's it. Like, I think it's just going to be a mixed bag initially until we get more experience as an industry, to be able to get a baseline for what we need to do to move forward.
Proof of selfishness, Bobby, lad. Proof of selfishness. We all know. We have to tread.
All right. Well, hey, I got a wrecked gang space starting here, so I got to bounce. But it's been a pleasure chatting with you guys.
Can we all end? Finn, can we bring the audience? Guys, I need to go because I'm ready for bed. I've eaten food. I've got some chocolate.
Oh no,
here.
I didn't mean to end your space. I just got to go. I got to start this other one.
No, it's not mine. It's Rama's. Duty's fell asleep.
Oh, he's sleeping. Yeah, that's okay.
What about Slinks?
I've had. Oh, Slinks. Slinks had a hand.
Yeah, bring Slinks up. Slinks, get in here, Slinks. How you doing?
Slinky.
How you doing? My favorite squid.
It's a really quick question. I've been MIA, as some of you have maybe noticed.
No worries. You're good. You're good.
The all node situation, I briefly learned about it this morning. And I heard Jacob talking about that there is beyond all node. I know the situation that occurred, but they were saying there's an association of other validators. Is there a list somewhere of like who is compromised? Like what chains and what validators beyond all nodes somewhere listed?
Who's white
Did he start? Didn't somebody in that group chat start a Notion page for it? I think they're working on it, but if I find one, I'll DM it to you.
It's still really fresh then. Okay, I thought I was like behind the curve by like.
Yeah. This is like day 2, I think. We'll start seeing spaces come out on Terra Spaces of it. That's how many days it's been.
RAC FM did reach out to all nodes and no answer as of yet. And we reached out to some like the core team, but nothing. Nothing going.
If you could see me right now, I'm doing the shocked meme. If you could see me right now, I'm really shocked right now.
Bro, I'm busy eating a dime bar. Oh, you know a dime. Anyone know a dime bar? Anyone in this world eats a dime bar?
Yeah, I know dive bars.
Wow. Dude, I've got the jumbo. The jumbo one. It's about like a foot long.
All right, that's fascinating. Right. I love you guys. Have a good day.
Right. All of us are going. Who's going to Rec Gang? Are we going? Are you going to Rec Gang? Because I'm going to bed. It's really late for me. My dogs are in the aircon. They're waiting. Oh my God. My life. It's so good. Tonight, fucking boys, come on. Like, before we end, tonight has been epic. Wow. And last night, but tonight, man. Recorded. Bobby, did you catch much of the recorded show? Rama's on fire, man, isn't he? Fucking Rama, man. You can't take him anywhere.
I haven't been able to listen to it yet, but I'm going to do it after my meetings here. It's going to be my afternoon listen.
Hey, real quick, Bobby. Did you say you're in Alaska?
I am.
Oh, very cool. Very, very cool. Like close to Anchorage, or you don't have to disclose if you don't want to, but.
No, I live in Eagle River, so it's about 10 miles out of Anchorage.
Oh wow, cool. I'm in.
Bro, you want to see his wolf pack? He's got a wolf pack.
I saw
pictures.
I know you've been involved with RAC for a while. I'm in North America, more kind of over where Gaines is at, and I've just always wanted to get to Alaska. I've never gotten up there, but it's like on my to-do list, my bucket list.
Oh, it is beautiful, and if you ever come up, just hit me up. I got a house with an awesome view, some extra rooms. You just want to chill out, like absolutely.
Oh, very cool. I'll definitely. Who knows? Not this year, but maybe next year or something like that. But that good to know, man. Appreciate it, and would love to. Yeah, it's just always been on my bucket list to get up there.
You won't be.
Oh, sorry, guys. I think that was me. Wait, guys, wait. There's a problem with the phone. Sorry, I'm getting roped.
It's all good.
Sorry, Bobby.
Yeah, come up to Alaska,
Sorry.
any and all. Hit me up.
Will do. And I think it's time for Robo to. He's already put Rama to bed, so Rama's been sleeping.
Bro, it's not that. It's not that. There's spaces. Wait. The spaces starts to fuck up.
Yeah, after a while.
Properly. Wait. Oh, yeah. Look who's come in. Wait, guys. Look at this. Null. Good morning, Null. Wow, it must be like 5 a.m. for Null. Fucking hell. He must have got up to check his nodes. I bet isn't he? He's up early. No, we're at the end of a long night, son.
Yeah, we've been going for a while, no, since this is like the third space for Robo, I believe. Well,
almost 6 hours, right?
Yeah.
Almost, is that right? Almost 6 hours, yeah.
For sure.
Sorry, 5 hours. We started at 8.
Well, there was the late night space with Jake, the FOMO space, and then I went to sleep, and then you started the RAC FM early one for me. Anyways, it's been very good. And
bro, I was working all day. I missed 90% of that space today.
Oh yeah,
I missed 90%.
It was just a bunch of us having fun.
Down horrendous.
Bunch of us having fun, crack it, or making fun of like 60% of the chains in the cosmos.
Mate, I just jumped in at lunchtime and I was like, that'll have been around midnight, like midnight your time. Right, anyway, fellas, I'm fucked. Wow, I'm going to have a lie-in. I'm going to cruise. Oh, wait. Null, you've got a few minutes. Hello, brother. He's your man, Null. I fucking love Null.
Hey, lads. Yeah, it's early as shit. It's like 5 a.m. Sounds like you guys have been doing God's work for hours.
Fucking morning, Null. How are you?
Holy fuck, bro.
Whoa, Candy Man. What the fuck happened there? What the fuck? What the fuck happened there?
He woke up.
How the bloody hell are we?
What the fuck are you doing up at 5 a.m.?
I sense a disturbance in the force.
The cold of the night woke me up on deck. I was having a good
No
nap.
way. No way is this conversation real. Did that just happen? Is it just me, or does anybody
I was
feel the
having a
vibe
good
in the
sleep,
room?
And then something
Wow.
came over me, and like a disturbance in force when I heard Noel's voice. And all of a
Noel's
sudden,
fucking accent.
I shook awake like the wife just fucking yelled at me. Get to bed. What are you?
Is that
doing
like
sitting
kangaroo
down on the
talk
deck?"
or something? Is that like some like Steve Irwin magic shit that he did there? Some like brain power boomerang fucking cracker. What happened there? Wow.
He could just feel my vibe from country New South Wales. He just felt my vibe.
Is home pleb come into conversation? I don't know if his roosters are kicking off or not.
Hello.
Home pleb, sleep night.
I'm actually in the car, so you'll hear no cockadoodling right now.
I mean, the fucking dime bar, me. I do not know. Do you like a dime bar or not? Are you partial to a bit of chocolate? I love a dime bar. Fucking glorious, aren't they?
I got no idea what a fucking dime bar is. Never had one.
I am
Fucking
partial
hell,
to a
Robo's down
dime bag,
horrendous.
though.
No,
Man, I was in the
I feel you,
supermarket.
Robo, and the time pass are fucking awesome, man.
Guys, I was in the supermarket at night and I spent about fucking $40 on like double deckers, crunchies, twirls, fucking dime bars. I just like, oh my fucking god, my life for the next like week is down horrendous. Like,
Robo,
I'm just gonna be.
The liberalization of the laws there has affected your diet.
Bro, I don't know. Well, I don't know. The winter's kicking in. I feel like I need some body fat. Like, I feel like seriously, it's been fucking 18 degrees, like 17 degrees on a night. I'm fucking dying, dude. I feel like I need, like, to replenish the body fat, because I'm skinny as fuck to start with, like. Or lean as fuck, whatever you want to call it, boys. Rama, what's he doing awake? My God. Please put him back to bed, Null.
Go on.
Fucking
sing
hell.
the lullaby.
Wait, Null's missed it all. Null Raccoon last night had a fucking right good show, dude. We even brought a Game of Notes up live on the fucking show with Coogee. about the voting, the Senate voting, dude. From Game of Nodes, we even timestamped them live, dude. No. Imagine the smell, man.
Oh, was it just me fucking having a go?
No, we were just like, dude. Like, it was so funny. No, it was like classic, like banter, you know, pure banter, like dead right, just knows banter inside out. It was fucking great. Like, no one who like would listen to last night would be like, oh, I didn't enjoy that. Because if you would say that, you'd be a fucking gigapleb.
Is it recorded? I'll have to give it a listen.
It is, bro. We're already just over 200.
It's the weekly show. Of course it's recorded.
Should we have Null on as... Oh, we can't have him on as a guest, can we? He's in bed.
We most fucking certainly can, and we will.
He can step bed at like 6 p.m. He can step bed at like 6 p.m., doesn't he? Mad cunt. He's probably wrecked by then. It's like mid-afternoon. Like
usually
lunchtime.
My time, it's usually fucking, I don't know, about 9, I suppose.
Bro, when I was in the desert, me fucking bird was a fucking sleep like 8:15, 10 to 8 p.m. Like shower, shit, food, like, you know what it's like when the sun's going down and you want to like cook your food, like if you can before the sun goes down, living out the van, blah, blah. Fucking dude, my head was done in. Like, that's not in my nature to even contemplate. Like, I used to have to sit up with a portable, like, DVD player, man. Back in, like, 2007, like, sitting up all night, dude, smoking, like, gigantic bags of weed. Oh, man, Null, it was so hard. In the desert, it was really... Honestly, I don't know how I did it, Null. I don't know how I coped, like, dude, having, like, 5 hours, like, free every night to do what the fuck I wanted in the middle of nowhere.
It's fucking hot out there too, bud. You just fucking working hard, sweating your ass off.
You know something though, bro? The thing was, the esky, you know, we had a giant esky. I think it was like a 30-litre esky, right? And, you know, in Australia, though, you get the blocks of ice. So, like, not the shitty ice cube, you know, the block. Like,
yeah,
that
like,
fits in the esky.
Like
dude,
they used to have in the old school fridges where the fucking ice went going with the block.
Correct. Dude, I lived in the blocks. A block could keep us going for like 2.5 days, like, quite easily. And I loved it when you put the cans in, you know, the 4X bitter. You put the cans in or whatever, and they created like the little can shape, so that when you refilled it, there was already that little holder, and you know, spin it a little bit like, because fucking Null. I mean, I don't know if anyone realizes here, bro, out in the desert, you open like a fucking cider or a beer or whatever, the fucking flies, man. I've never seen anything like it. Like, keeping my finger like on or the drink covered just to be able to like be able to take a drink. Like literally, if you had a cider out in the desert and you just like took your thumb off, there could be a million flies on there in like fucking 30 seconds. You've never seen anything like it's really.
They love that sugary shit, man. They fucking love it.
Bro, we couldn't even eat some nights.
It's not.
It was that bad.
Sugar, though, right, Robo?
Fuck.
Right, like it's
cider. Cider's sugar.
It's that. Like, I think it's the sugar and it's the carbonation that kind of gets their little pheromone sensors going. But it's liquid. You're in the desert, so they come over and someone figures out there's liquid, and the buzzing changes to a different kind of buzzing. And animals communicate with scent hormones and things like that. As soon as that scent hormone gets put out there, oh my gosh, there's water here, there's sweet water here, then you've got your swarm.
Holy fuck, I swear to God, it almost like drove myself and her like absolutely insane. I've never had to live like through conditions. We never even imagined it would get to that like magnitude. Like literally, like I said, yeah, cooking. If you don't just like do it at the right time and do it like very, very quickly or whatever, like it's going to be a nightmare. But any like thought of enjoyment, sitting outside, like you think about it, no. You've got to wait until it's like proper dark and they've all fucking died or whatever. Like the best time in the desert, like is at night. Like literally, it's like, oh fucking hell, thank fuck for that. Man, I went through some horrific, and the worst one, Null, sandflies got me in Broome. Well, actually, just before I got to Broome, Null, proper sandflies got my arms. My forearms. Oh, dude, I had about 500 bites.
Fucking
dude.
fan flies are a proper cunt.
Wow, dude, I was ruined. The pain, I cried in the fucking. I got in the broom. I got into the chemist, first sign of life, and I just put my arms out and I cried. Dude, they gave me calamine lotion or whatever. They were like, "Hey, go and fuck off." Dude, I want to cut my arms out. I've never experienced pain like it. It's ridiculous, man.
Yeah,
People don't understand.
They're pretty fucked up.
No, what is it? It's the piss, right? Sandflies basically piss on you, and it's the piss that burns you, right? Allegedly, is that right?
I'm not sure, man. They can get you through your clothes and shit. Like, whenever I see sandflies, I just, like, fucking get out the can of Bushman and put an inch-thick fucking layer on.
Wow, Bushman. I know that shit. I used to use that stuff, mate. Up in Daintree and stuff.
Yeah, good shit. Spray it on and everything.
Dude, I fell asleep on Koh Kong in Cambodia, that little island. And I was on the other side of the island, deserted, full of Valium, and I fell asleep at night as well. And fucking hell, man. It was the whole beach I didn't realise was infected with sandflies, man. Fucking woke up the next morning, dude. I couldn't even walk back to the hotel. I was like brutalised beyond belief. Like, fuck sandflies. But I'm scared of those little motherfuckers, I'm telling you. People don't realise you can't even, like, most of the time, you can't see them with the naked eye. That's what's really interesting, like the tiny little, like, minute little motherfuckers, like, that, yeah, you don't want. Anyway, guys, fuck Rama. Rama, dude, did you go back to sleep? I'm dropping, dude. I'm fucked. Put in, like, over 5 hours here, bro.
No, right, Robbo. You're fucking doing God's work, bro.
Oh.
Yeah, thank you for the spaces, bro. I'm bouncing too.
I'm just, you know something, I'm determined that, like, that everyone's fucking voice is going to be heard regardless of what people think or don't think. Like, if we can't come together as adults and discuss things, then crypto and Cosmos has no future. It has to be openly discussed. And that's what I said about Null last week, as a champion, as a bastion, as a voice, putting that out there, right? Like, literally the conversations are not going to go away. Aye, and that's what was championed last week, which I thought was fucking fantastic, by the way. But yeah, Rama, I'm dropping, dude. Take care, and no, lovely to fucking speak to you again, me old mucker, me old pal. Take care, Bobby Mind. Lovely to hear Bobby again. And on Brian, lovely. Thank you so much, Brucey. Take care, Rama. See ya.
Thank you, Rubo.
I'm gonna drop out here too, lads. Gonna go back to sleep. Fuck it.
Thanks for checking out another episode of The Ether. That was RAC FM, number 69.420. On behalf of RAC FM Corporate, sponsored by the board of RAC FM Corporate. On behalf of Corporate Rarma, hosting this one. Recorded on Friday, January 27th, 2023. For TerraSpaces.org Corporate, I'm Finn. Thanks for listening. If you want to keep listening, you guys are corporate, it's fine. Rolling down the street in my 6'4". I never had a 6'4". A kid can wish though. I snapped a wishbone and grabbed a fistful. Chilling with the dopey, this a weed is all I wish for. I'm feeling blissful. I got a missus, my ginger always down to ride no matter what the mission. I'm singing this song, got a couple albums out. We do alright, but it ain't really shit to write home about. Like to feed the fishbowl, keep my stories mystical. I like my beats boom bap and rap to be lyrical. I'm feeling cynical, craving a little ritual. Save my place in line while I try to find a miracle. I keep looking, but never find nothing. We've been lied to, thinking they're surprised under super secret lies. Motherfuckers sneak inside, going dark. Now believe me when I say this shit is do or die. Going dark, now believe me when I say this shit is do or die. Going dark, now believe me when I say this shit is do or die. Through the trench,
trenches, trying to stay offensive. Trespassing here like this land looks expensive. Ain't no time like the present, trying to stake a claim. Just make sure your claim stays away from all these other claims. We're almost kinda running out of land here, living in the day of the dead, and it's damn weird. Same teams, y'all, we just trying to get a bite to eat, a little rest saved up, waiting for my time to sleep. Head down, middle fingers up, yo, I'm wide awake. Never hesitate to stay about 100 miles away. 7 time and space, while the wrecking ball the place. I expect you all to play, running marathons today. When the sick get sicker and the rich get richer, it might be about time to rearrange our dinner. Fix the system, the shit, it's all nixed. Waking up early, gonna suck today's. Time to suck today's dick, that's what I'm talking about. Going dark now, believe me when I say the shit is do or die. Going dark now, believe me when I say the shit is do or die.
Clark's a great guy, man. He's totally gonna take care of Angela, man. He's great. He's a wonderful lab partner, so it's gonna be cool. We'll keep an eye on her.
Why don't you go fuck yourself, you weird little prick?
I'm a teacher, okay? You can't talk to me like that, guy.
I'm not a student, so I can say whatever the fuck I want.
TerraSpaces.